We are Brap. We are live. We love gaming. We have a great show in store for everyone. And we're going to be giving away 2 games tonight. 2 games. 2 bangers. One for PC, one for PlayStation 4.
Exclusives?
Yes. One of them is a PlayStation exclusive.
I mean, because you say the word banger, and I don't think Xbox falls in that category.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're not going to start. Okay. On that note, on that note, let's get into it.
That's the biggest part of that's the biggest.
All right, guys, welcome back to Brap Forte. Oh, that's too early, man. You're starting too early with that stuff, man. Come on, come on. We don't want to eat.
That was the one time and only time you'll ever hear that.
Okay.
First of all, let me also say,
yes, sir.
Your intro is fire.
Straight fire. I was about to say that shit. I was about to be like, damn.
No, that thing was fire. And on top of that, it reminds me of a said streamer that doesn't stream on a platform anymore because we don't know what the heck's going on, named Dr. Disrespect, because I swear to God, that's straight out of his music playbook.
well, thank you for the I'm glad everyone likes it. Our special guest, Dark Optimus, returning guest. Optimus, welcome back to Brap. Glad you enjoyed as well. Last time we had you on, we didn't have that intro, but welcome back, man.
No, dude, you didn't have that intro, and you stepped up your game. I can finally say that I'm a fan of Brap. You know, before I couldn't say that.
Man, here we go. Here we go.
He wasn't quite sure. He wasn't quite sure of us yet, but he's in now.
Yeah,
the intro did it.
Well, I want to say something, Optimus. You were the voice of reason on the Xbox podcast.
I tried
the next podcast, so I just want to say you are really the voice of reason there, man. You bring balance to the force of that podcast.
Yeah, you know, you gotta bring in some balance to the the Xbot fanatics out there.
Yeah. Dude, and by the way, we don't refer to them as Xbot fanatics here on Brap. We just call people fanboys. Anyway,
lost
souls. But on that note, yeah, because
shameless plug for Slowlo's videos.
Yeah, console warring is bad for your health. But let's introduce the panel real quick. Again, we have returning guest Dark Optimus. We have my man from the what I will call the what's it called, the hotspot. I forgot. Well, I don't want to. Well, the hotspot down in the south of the pandemic. We have entanglement savvy himself, Eric Jackson. What's up, E?
Oh, chilling, man. Happy to be here. What's going on, everybody? The beautiful Wednesday in Zamunda.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It is my birthday.
It is my birthday.
How's the broken stiletto of the United States of America doing?
I'm just waiting for the rest of you guys to get together and figure out when they're gonna chop this thing off and let it float out into the ocean.
I tell you what, E, I'm about to fly in there, man, like Chris Redfield, a chopper, and pick you up.
You know, they actually started already. They just didn't tell you guys because they didn't want any of you Florida people trying to escape into the mainland before we got rid of you.
He said to the mainland.
Yo, I swore I heard some
jackhammering. The mainland.
Like it's foregone
because they separate away. They are to be the mainland. They got to get away. We got to get away from there, man.
Yo, man, I thought I heard some jackhammering like earlier this morning.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done. You guys.
Hey, do it now, man, because it's not gonna get any better. You know who we have in charge, right? It's not gonna get better. And do it before we mess up your election again, because that's gonna happen too.
Oh yeah.
You guys. Let me tell you something. Florida fucks everything up for the U.S. Let's just leave it at there.
They always got to recount their votes.
Recount the votes, the Chads. Now you got the pandemic popping off.
I feel like they do that on purpose, though. You know,
they do.
Of
It's
course.
always happening in Orange
When
County.
you have
too.
detours that just have voters going in circles as they're trying to get to their voting booth, but it's like it keeps saying do 3 left turns, and I go right back to the same spot.
It's kind of like Universal Orlando, you know. Just go
right.
Now they got a legit reason because of the coronavirus down there. So
you can't say that. Say that.
There's no legit reason.
We're back to
like you can vote. I mean, it's 2020.
You can absentee vote. That's what
absentee votes.
Apparently, that's cheating.
Well, absentee voting.
Oh, I don't know. Mail-in voting is apparently cheating, I guess.
Well, I mean, it wasn't at one point, but now because somebody says it is, you know, they want to suppress the votes however they can.
You notice how that works? When someone says something, then all of a sudden it becomes truth. You didn't arrive to that conclusion yourself.
It's just one person, though. You notice that it's always like one
person. Yeah.
It's never like a ton of people. It's always like one person who said it, and then people run with it. It's like, dude,
where have I seen this, Optimus? In the gaming industry.
Oh Lord.
Where have I seen this?
Specific.
Oh boy.
Remember, we're a professional podcast.
We are professional, but we can talk about things.
We don't talk about the less fortunate people out there that don't know what.
Wait, see, I
don't know what the difference between.
You call them less fortunate. That's a little. That could be viewed as offensive.
You mean those who don't know the difference between game design and scalability?
Listen, man,
boy. Here we go.
If you feel like you're one of those less fortunate people I was talking about, just call me or DM me, and I'll confirm it for you.
Okay. All right, Eric. Well, we're glad to see you're doing well. Happy to see you on the show again. On that note, we have Gaming Forte. Forte, what is going on? Forte, the Insiders, I'm calling you, who has officially confirmed Perfect Dark.
I just thought it was real funny when I opened up a box today and out popped a Joanna Dark figure. I was like, what?
Well, why did Joanna
made out
Dark
of Play-Doh?
It probably was the ugliest.
Why did she look like Ryan?
I was looking at my DMs and I was like, not my DMs, but my tweets. I was like, oh man, look at these bitches. And somebody was like, wait a minute. First of all, who was that? E? He was like, what is this? Who first of all, who made this?
That was B. I just gave you the staring eyes, like what the?
I was taking a picture and I was looking. I was like, man, what's the best light I can put this statue in?
Let me tell you something. That thing looked like someone just slapped some paint on it and shipped it out in a box. It looks like Ryan, the little kid with all the toys that we talked about last week.
Oh, well, Ryan's got a bunch. He has a toy line now.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that last week.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah. But I'm saying the figure looked like Ryan, but
no, but it
looked like Ryan's mom.
Oh Lord. How you know what? Yeah, she has been on camera, I guess.
Yeah, but she's on TV. How do I know?
Yeah, I'm about to say how you know. No, I've been good. It's been working. Mom's came in town on Monday, so hanging out with her.
Hi, Mom's Forte.
Slaving over these videos, trying to get my man to make this grounded video.
Yeah, you were slacking, Forte.
Right. I'm making a thumbnail right now. Oh, so let me tell you the quick story on this. So this video, was done.
Why does Joanna Dark look like she's about to go Damien on your ass?
I don't know, bro. I was like, wow. So let me tell you the story about how this video happened yesterday. So this video was already done like 4 days ago. So I scheduled it in YouTube. Hey, I don't know anybody that scheduled a video. Have you noticed that it always schedules it the next day? So when I scheduled, I didn't change it to which would have been yesterday. I scheduled it for today at 8 p.m. And I didn't look at analytics or anything, and I went to go check to see how it was doing, like around 11:30. And I was like, wait, why is it not live? And I looked and I was like, oh my God, I scheduled it for the next day. So I'm super glad that I looked because that video would not have came out till today at 8 p.m. and I would have lost this bet to slow-mo instantly. So since I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? Since I'm up, I might as well just like play this as close to the vest as possible. So I literally sat there to 11:58 p.m. to post this video and say, "Woo!" just in the nick of time. I sent it to Slow-Mo first because I wanted him to get the timestamp so he can see that video went live 2 minutes before midnight. So yeah, we're still on our pace to get Slow-Mo to make this grounded video. If I make one today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, he has to do it.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that because I've been saying for a long time, Slow-Mo does a lot of great work with, some of the more, I guess, smaller titles. And I feel like
did you see his video he made today?
Yeah. And I feel like
phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, compliments to you, Slow-Mo, really, man. But that's why I think Grounded and even Bug Snacks are the perfect games for your channel, man.
I think he should make one on Bug Snacks. We'll do a different.
I think so too.
I'm not doing Bug Snacks.
You'll do it if somebody buys it for you. You'll do it.
I will not. If someone buys it for me, I'm going to give them their money back. I'm going to say, look here.
I would gift it to you, but PlayStation doesn't have gifting.
Well, I will give them what it's worth. I will flip a nickel to them. Say, here you go. This is what that game is worth.
Slow-Mo, can we do an experiment here in the live chat real quick? Everyone in the live chat, I want you to give. If you want to see Slow-Mo do Bug Snacks, a video
of Bug Snacks, course they're going to say yeah.
That. Let's do this. We live in the United States of democracy here.
Yes, 1 for Ness. Yes, 2 for no. 3 for I don't care.
Yes. Again, if you want to see Slow-Mo,
I'm not doing a Bug Snacks. I refuse.
So I tell you what you can call the segment, right? Right? You could call it the. I don't know. I'm having fun. That's what every time when these games come up, that's what I see people tweet. I mean, I'm having fun.
I'm having fun. The game's fun.
That is true. You do see that a lot.
Wait,
I don't know
fun.
about this guy, but I'm having fun.
Right.
It's fun. Don't listen to those reviews. Think for yourself.
Hey, look, the frame rate, winning, by the way. Frame rate's 13 frames per second, and it looks like a watercolor come to life. But hey, I'm having fun.
Right.
That big colorful blur over there. I mean, yeah, that's fun. Oh, hey, King crashed again. So much fun. No, look, my channel.
I've been in the lobby for 4 hours waiting for the game.
Grounded come out or something?
It's like in beta, I think, right now. You can actually play. What's the stream? What's stream Grounded with me?
You can play it right now.
Well, it's giving me the option to play it right now on PC.
On Game Pass, PC. Yeah. You want Forte? You want to do a stream, man? We can play Grounded.
Yeah, since Slow-Mo doesn't want to do it, I'll play you. I'll play with you on it.
Yeah, we can
we're not afraid of playing games that
both of you.
All right, real quick. The ones have it. So Slow-Mo, the fans have voted. They want you to do this video. So that means you have to do it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
It does, because you know why? The internet never forgets.
Well, they can forget this because it's not. I'm not doing Bug Snacks.
People, please harass Slow-Mo Backslap on Twitter. Make memes of him. Do what you need to do to get this man to give you guys what you want. On that note, I do want to introduce Slow-Mo. What's up, Slow-Mo?
Let's just say something real quick. My channel is for smaller titles.
Don't say good.
Smaller developers.
But isn't Bug Snacks from a small developer?
I don't know what that's from. Okay, it could have been the spawn of Satan that just appeared out of nowhere and showed up at the Sony conference. It doesn't have a developer. Nobody even knows how it got there. It just showed up and frightened children everywhere. I don't care where it came from. I'm not ever playing it. Period. I don't want to see no strawberries with eyes. I don't want to see any dogs eating and then their hands turn into. Look, I don't care. The game looks horrible. I do games on my channel, videos for games that I like. I actually have to like it. The only reason I'm doing Grounded is because Forte is probably going to end up really doing 7 videos in 7 days. I probably should have put some time constraints on it. Like it's got to be out before 8 a.m. That's my fault.
You probably should have, because you would have definitely won that.
Yeah, giving him 24 hours to make sure each video was out was just being a little too lenient for him. That said, the only reason why I'm going to do this video is because I get to go deep into pause into Obsidian.
Yeah, right.
And I'm a big fan of.
Like to get deep. I want to get deep
You
in
want
there.
to basically tickle their inner core. I got you.
Oh man!
Whoa,
Nice.
no!
You want to diddle the private parts? It's cool.
Okay,
you know?
okay. Time out.
Straight hitting the back wall there, huh? Oh no! Look!
Shoot!
I'm a big fan of Obsidian's work, and so like what I do. If there's enough information out there, I'll talk about a game. Then I'll also talk about the studio, and just kind of inform people of like how they came up and their workflow, what they like to do, what makes them unique, that kind of stuff. And Obsidian has a rich history, going all the way back to Interplay. So
does the creator of Bugsnaps, though. You know, he made Octodad, and you can go back and talk about how Octodad was one of those rare gems that a lot of people probably didn't play, and they should. So I think you should make one on Bugsnaps because
Octodad can kiss my ass.
Oh, that's a classic.
Come on, man! It was a launch title. It was a launch title for the PlayStation.
It was a launch title. It was a terrible launch title for the PlayStation 4.
Thank you.
It was kind of booty. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie either, but it doesn't.
I remember playing that demo. I was like, "What the hell is this?" But when Slow-Mo
coined his channel as for the indies, he needs to, be about the indies.
Not all indies.
Don't turn your back like PlayStation did for 3 years.
Wow, Slow-Mo, you have filled a niche. That is your niche, sir.
I know.
My niche is games that people don't want to play.
Look, man,
you don't know that. I mean, people love. I mean, apparently the fan reaction with Grounded is that it's a passion project. People are excited about it.
Both Grounded and Bugsnax are memes.
See, look, man, you got people in the live chat. You got shout out to One Bad Mother. He's saying my vote don't count. What is this?
Yes,
Florida.
This is the Electoral College. Your vote does not count. Okay.
So popular vote don't matter no more.
We know it was a landslide in popular votes, but guess what? That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Yeah.
You live in Delaware.
I guess
okay?
you live in Delaware
when it comes to this vote. Your vote means nothing.
Your vote is garbage. Yeah. All right, real quick. I want to go back. I want to introduce B Money real quick. B, what's going on, man?
All right, what's going on, fellas? Another great Wednesday night. Just count down the days of Friday, man.
Oh, I hear that, man. Friday's going to be great as we have Ghosts of Tsushima. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, by the way, 84-minute cricket, right? We are actually going to give away. And guys, I think I sent you guys a DM. I am terrible at giveaways. You guys make fun of me because usually my trivia questions, the live chat, are like super easy. Like I'll be like, what color is the sun? And I'll give away a free game, right? So if you guys, Forte, you know that's true, man. Because last time I did, you guys like that's too easy. But seriously, guys, think of a question at some point in the live chat.
I already got one.
I got one too.
Okay. Well, just put it in the StreamYard private chat, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys, we're gonna do a giveaway for Death Stranding on PC. We're gonna do a giveaway today for Ghosts of Tsushima for PlayStation 4, which comes out this Friday. And we'll pick a lucky winner from the live chat. By the way, big shout out to the live chat. Everyone, please hit that like button. And if you haven't done so, subscribe, hit that bell notification as well. And I did drop the link in the chat if you guys wouldn't mind retweeting and letting everyone know. Woo! We're giving away 2 free games because we love gaming. I'm just in a good mood today. I'm in a giving mood. And I feel like with the pandemic, the craziness of the world today, what a great time to be a gamer, right? It's a great distraction. And we have 2 great games to give away. So I want to talk about Death Stranding on PC. This kind of goes into our first topic, by the way, of frames, because I think frame rates have been a hot topic in the I Dizzy call me Papa Enrique. I don't know how I feel about that. So we the issue of frame rates, should games be 30 frames per second? That conversation started when we saw Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which we'll talk about Ubisoft later on in the show and how they disrespected one of the greatest franchises out there, one of the most iconic superheroes, or not superheroes, but game characters. We'll get to that later on. So I got Death Stranding I beat Death Stranding on PlayStation 4 when it came out last November. I picked it up again on Steam. Big shout out to Rich Kreiser, who actually gifted me some Steam credit. I actually used that towards the purchase of Death Stranding. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I think Slow-Mo, I was on DM saying, "Oh, Slow-Mo, like this game, like runs awesome, supports DLSS 2.0." And let me just say something. Frames matter. And this game benefits tremendously from higher frame rates. Now, I don't know if Slow-Mo, did you end up picking up the game?
I have not picked it up yet because I have purchased too many games in the past week. And if I buy one more game, you guys may not hear from me ever again. So I'm going to wait until like maybe the end of the month. To the end of the month. Because I got too many games to play anyway. And then I pre-ordered Ghost of Sushi Muffins. And
muffins.
And the wife, while I was working, the wife sent me a message. Was like, another one, huh? And I was like, ooh, okay. So I was like,
that's what happens when you got a joint account.
I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna hold off on Death Stranding for a little bit.
I got a joint account, but I also have my own account for because you got to. But I hear you though, Slow-Mo, because I've heard those conversations. Like when I opened up that box, that collector's edition box for The Last of Us Part 2, I got that look. Where's that going? Yeah. So.
Yeah. And this, honestly, even if I got it, I wouldn't be playing it yet. It's just too much.
But you would play it though, Slow-Mo. I think you would play to kind of benchmark frame rates a little bit, kind of see how the game plays, right? I mean, you might not like dive into it, Yeah,
I would do that, and then I would kind of like come back to it later on. Like, I mean, that's kind of how I did Control. Like, I initially played Control on Xbox, and then I was liking it, but then it was like, the frame rates are killing me. So I just couldn't I built my PC, got Control again on Epic Game Store. It was like $30. I was like, bet that's a wrap, and get that. Started playing it, enjoyed it a little bit more because I had the frames up to like 70 frames per second. But then, other things happen. I put it down. 2 months later, come back to it, and I'm just like hooked. Like I was telling Eric, I was like, yo, man, I can't stop playing this game. And it's just like, I think sometimes it's like, and this is, I'm very situational with like what I'm into at a certain period of time. I love RPGs, but sometimes I just like, I can't even look at one. I don't want to play it. Sometimes I love first person shooters. Then like there'll be moments where I just like, yo, I can't deal with a shooter right now. I need a walking simulator. It's just like, it just, sometimes you just don't feel like doing it,
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I mean, look, I get it. And I'll say this. Well, first of all, before I get into my experience with Death Stranding on PC, anyone else pick it up on PC?
No, I haven't picked it up there.
Yeah.
Do I look like a PC gamer, dude?
Oh God, Dark. We know you are the peasant console class.
I'm the console peasant, dude. That's what I am. I'm the king of the peasants. Damn it.
Look, I'm not buying any other. I'm not buying no more games until the PS5 and Xbox Series X is actually announced, and I can go pre-order it. Because every time I spend money on this generation, I'm taking away from the system that I'm gonna buy later on.
So you're not getting Horizon Zero Dawn?
That's good, but that comes out in August. So I think these systems are going to get announced and pre-ordered before the end.
Oh, you said announced. I thought you meant coming.
No, I just need to know what the price of these systems are so I can pay for them. And then I will buy a new game. No, because trust me, Horizon's getting bought. The only reason I didn't buy it during the sale is because I don't want to. I mean, you okay? So this is the thing. When you're buying two systems, and you're looking at north of probably $1,100 with tax and everything for both of them, every $60 is a lot. So I'm sitting, or $50 in that case for Horizon. So I got time, but I will be buying that game.
Still brought it down to like 40,
45. It was $5 difference.
No, it was 40.
It was 45, sir.
Hey, look, I spent 40. I don't know where you got yours at.
You talking about during the Steam sale, right? Because they gave you $5 in credit for everything you bought over $30.
That's right. Yep.
The game was $49.99. Slow-mo.
No, there was some other sale for it. It was. I spent 41. I spent $41 total.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, real quick, guys. So I'm gonna go back to Death Stranding. I'm gonna,
why?
Because I want to talk. Because
we talked so bad about that game months ago. You want to bring it up again?
No,
this ties into frames per second, sir.
Well, yeah. If you're gonna talk about that, then it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do a deep dive into.
Please don't, because nobody here wants to hear it.
Death Stranding, unless the live chat wants to hear that. Then
they don't want to hear about death boredom again.
Yeah. Okay. So look,
we don't want to hear about things about going deep. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my goodness. All right. So Death Stranding, frames per second. I'm getting about 100 to about 110 frames per second on max settings, and the game runs beautiful. First of all,
what you got, sir?
I have 2070.
Nice.
And let me tell you something. Game runs beautiful. The jank that was in that game on the PlayStation 4, not existent. It runs so butter smooth. The gameplay, the response with when you're traversing with sand porter bridges is so much more responsive, and the game really does benefit from the higher frames. It really does. And that Decima engine, woo! Oh my god, that's slow-mo.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Decima engine. That Decima engine is definitely definitely something that is really going to shine on the PC. I'm first one to admit it. Like, even like on the PlayStation, it shines pretty well. Like, it looks good, but on the PC, it's just gonna that engine is just so it's beyond like beautiful. Like, it's such a beautiful engine. Like, it's ridiculous how they're able to take it from being on the PlayStation to being on the PC and just make it look just gorgeous, like, and I might actually buy Horizon Zero Dawn on PC just because of that, just to see what it looks like, because that's definitely like, it just, because that's one of my top games of this generation. So like that right there, I think, because I mean, just on the PlayStation alone, it looks gorgeous. I can only imagine what it's going to look like on PC.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm on the PlayStation 4, I was playing in 4K, HDR. It wasn't native 4K, but whatever, HDR, and I'm playing on 1440p resolution, and it just looks. I mean, it looks even better. I mean, I can't even. It's almost night and day. And so this brings you to the point about higher frames per second, because a lot of us, have been talking about this, with regards to next generation consoles. I think the expectation is, like double the power should be like double the frames. And I'll go to you with this Optimus. I mean, should like 60 frames per second, and maybe it probably won't be the standard next generation, but should it be like should we see 60 frames as in majority of the releases that we see next generation, with these powerful consoles? Because make no mistake, these are very powerful consoles. As Slow-Mo has said numerous occasions, the Series X is like a 2080 Ti. Slow-Mo has been beating that drum for about 2 months now. Right, Slow-Mo? Oh, Slow-Mo's on.
Slow-Mo has never said that.
Slow-Mo sound like he's eating.
I was eating.
I
had to come off of mute just to correct that, because I don't want people going around with that narrative.
Is that a chicken salad you're eating right now?
He's like, I cannot confirm or deny.
Go ahead, Dark.
But, I think to be honest, I think for exclusives, yes, they all should be 60 frames per second. I am a little upset that a lot of the PlayStation exclusives that I've been hearing about aren't at 60 frames per second. I think they should be. I mean, eventually they might actually go towards that, but that's one thing that I've heard from other people that have worked in the industry, that a lot of companies base their games, like design of their games, from the frames per second. So if you're gonna design your game around 30 frames, then that's what you're gonna get. You get what you put out of it. Out there. So it's just, I think if Xbox can do it with their exclusives like 60 frames per second, they're definitely going to have a good chance of having some people return. I don't think everybody will return, but I think they'll have a good chance of people returning especially if they have good games too. Like they're gonna have games. They're definitely gonna have to beat the competition when it comes to frame rates too, because I think frame rates are gonna be a big factor next generation, especially with these games being as big as they are. Just we definitely need to see higher frame rates out of this gen than we did this past gen, because if we continue to see the 30 frames per second, it feels like, to a lot of people, they don't really kind of notice it. Once they go from 30 to 60, they're kind of like, I don't really see the difference. But
I disagree with that. I see the difference.
Definitely see the difference.
30, 60, yeah.
50 50 to 60 hours. If you're playing a 60 frames per second game for 60 hours, you are definitely going to see the difference. And I personally see the difference, but I've talked to some people who said they can't see the difference. So I'm just throwing that out there, that there are people out there that don't see it. So
I
showed them like the difference between 30 and 60.
You don't just see
you just feel it. You could. Yeah, you could feel it. You can see it. It's just like, I think games need to progress in that stance, is to go to like, because we're kind of at that point of like graphics are kind of like at a kind of a standstill a little bit. Like we're not going to see too many graphical upgrades to certain games. Like some games are going to look, a lot of the games, like a lot of people I see them online saying, "Oh, this game doesn't look next gen." Well, of course it doesn't look next gen, because the graphics wise, it's not going to look next gen. The thing that's going to make it next gen, the technical things that are going on in the game, and the gameplay itself. Like if we can get it to where you're doing some badass shit in some games, then we'll see some games that are next generation. But that's the thing, like graphics is just not, we're hitting that point where graphics are just at that little standstill right there. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Something that I think kind of makes sense, and something that Racer Gundam in the chat just pointed out, that not every game needs 60 frames per second. Now I do feel like, me personally, I don't want to play anything under 60, and that's me and my PC being such a beast. But some games like say RPGs, like for example, I've been playing Persona 4 Golden. I don't need that to be at.
Yes, you do. You do need
it.
For what?
You need it.
Have you played Persona 4 Golden?
I'm not saying I played. I'm not saying. No, I'm just saying in general. People saying they don't need 60 frames per second in their titles, in certain titles.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
To the problem.
I know it's not, because I'm saying is that a game.
I think if it's a turn-based game like Slow-Mo's talking about, it makes sense. Like if it's a turn-based game like Slow-Mo's talking about, it makes complete sense to me. Yeah, because there's no reason for you to be 60 frames, because you're not really doing anything,
You're walking around.
You're not doing anything combat wise.
You're sitting in class, and then you go through dungeons and you kill a couple of monsters and fight some dude once in a while. Well, why does that need to be at 60 frames?
Would it benefit from being at 60 frames per second slow?
Not for that game, not really.
So there is no benefit for being at 60 frames per second.
Not as much as an action adventure game.
I didn't ask you to, because every game could be compared differently. Every game could be compared differently. We already know that. But you're basically saying there's no reason to do it. That's what you're basically putting out there, that certain games don't need to do it at all.
Yeah,
I disagree with that 100%. All
How
games
is that literally different than you just contradicted yourself because you said that it's not needed for every game. But
I didn't say it's not. No, I said I was just basically reiterating what you said. You're basically saying every game don't need it.
You tell me why a game like Persona needs 60 frames per second.
I'm just telling you that it's not that Persona doesn't need it. People going out and saying that games don't need it is like, to me, I'm like, why not? I'm just thinking in my head, like, why it doesn't benefit. If you tell me at a technical level it would benefit in no way whatsoever, then I'm with you. But nobody can tell me on a technical level that a game running at double the frame rate would not benefit the game in some way. It will.
Necessary for that particular kind of game.
You'll get smoother animations, with the higher frames, obviously. But I think Slow-Mo,
I know what Slow-Mo's getting at. I
haven't played Persona, where it's kind of a turn-based. Like, you're really not moving.
The fact that I'm saying just like this, Slow-Mo, I agree with you 100%. I just don't like people going out and putting the narrative out there saying that games don't have to have it. They don't. No.
And people have been saying that, by the way, too.
People have been saying that, but Slow-Mo didn't say that. So don't apply that.
No, I don't want you even breathing that into existence in your argument, Slow-Mo.
Specifically, certain specific games really don't need it, but for everything
keep doing it.
But don't.
That's not saying we don't need 60 frames per second.
No, I know you're not saying we don't need.
But go through the genres
to the fence right now. You're saying that
I'm not on both sides of the fence. If you want to go through the genres, the vast majority of the genres would benefit from higher frames. Period. 60 and up.
Every genre will benefit from it. It doesn't mean it's going to get it, but it will benefit.
Oh God! Bye.
I think some games benefit from resolution too, though, and I see a lot of people saying, you can knock down the resolution and give me 60 frames, but a lot of times on these 4K TVs, especially with the next generation of consoles being at that 120 hertz, you're gonna want the resolution to be as high as possible because the game's gonna look like shit if it's at a lower resolution. So if you're gonna substitute resolution for frames, that's gonna hurt, I think, a little bit for some games. But I think if we focus on getting most or all these games to 60 frames per second in 4K as well, then it's good. We'll be good.
But these consoles, these consoles are able to do 60 frames for at least 1440p, maybe 1800p.
But 1440p is not the buzzword.
I know.
What is the buzzword? 4K. We've been screaming about 4K since the beginning of this generation.
If you go off of what most of the Xbox people out there and some PlayStation people are saying, that these systems are stronger than
2160p,
2080 Ti's. So you trying to tell me that a 2080 Ti can't do that with these systems?
No, that's not.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just going on.
But yeah, the 2080 Ti can do it.
But these consoles ain't no 2080 Ti.
Yeah, they ain't 2080 Ti's.
Right.
Yes, they are.
That's the thing. These games like that.
I'm telling you, man.
Are you trying to tell me that
80 Ti's? You guys, you can have the best graphics card, but it's really,
But are you also telling me that I got to have a 2080 Ti?
But it's really up to the developers. Like the developers have to say that.
Oh, guys, let's not try to talk over each other here. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm overcutting you. I didn't mean that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Damn it, Optimus, go!
No, because I'm going to rebuttal what you just said.
Each other to being super polite.
God, no, right?
I'm gonna keep talking
because I want to hear what you just said.
No, I'm just going back to the conversation like I was just having with Slow-Mo.
Like an episode of like Monday Night Raw. Go ahead, Forte.
Because I was done with what I was saying. I just want to hear
that 4K. It could be the fact that they want better visuals, but then when I go back to, are you telling me even if these systems aren't actually 2080 Ti levels of performance, if they're even close to that, you're telling me a game that Slow-Mo just gave as an example can't do both? Because that game could.
I think that game actually could do both because it's such an old game. Like those type of games, like when they're older like that, those games can definitely do it. Like if they did like a God of War remaster or something like that for the next generation of consoles, it would be at 4K 60 frames per second. No doubt about that. But if it comes to the new games, it's gonna be like if some of these games are at 30 frames per second, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, man, why? They're going to be questioning why, and it's really because the developers are deciding to do that.
Yeah, you're right. I'm scared that that's what the case is going to be.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, we talk about like 4K resolution. I think B Money brought up a great point. Like 4K is the buzzword. It's easier to market 4K than it is frames per second per se, right? But I think there's some tips, there's some tricks that I think developers are starting incorporating with this console generation. Like we talk about we mentioned DLSS 2.0 earlier. And the show relates to Death Stranding. I don't know if you saw this, Slow-Mo, but the 2060 is putting out Death Stranding at like 4K resolution with DLSS 2.0, right?
Right. That makes complete sense because DLSS 2.0 it's amazing. That machine learning is on point, and you could be at 1080p, and with DLSS 2.0 and that image sharpening, that machine learning, the output will look better than a native 4K image.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saving yourself that frame rate hit.
Yep, absolutely.
Doing that, you're being able to turn on other features like ray tracing, and it's just, I mean, it's the advancements in technology that are really driving. I think going to really drive next generation, and you're seeing all these different features from different game engines like Lumen and Nanite with Unreal Engine 5. All that stuff is really going to allow these machines to do things that go a little bit beyond just what resolution was that? Was it checkerboarding? Was it like all that stuff that we used to talk about with this current gen? It's not going to be as relevant as it will be next gen. Next gen is going to be about like what are your APIs? Like what are you really implementing in your software and your games, and we're going to really start to see. I think it's going to really separate the talent levels of developers.
Yeah,
that's you're going to really start seeing how good a developer is when everyone has roughly some really great software and tools to work with. But the very best developers, you're going to really see them really show out. And I just can't wait to see more of it. I mean, I watched that. I don't know if you guys watched it when Epic came out with their Unreal Engine 5 video. I think it was a couple of days ago when they broke down everything. And I mean, I was so fascinated. I was watching the entire thing, and Unreal Engine 4.25 is already available. So essentially, developers can just already convert 4.0 to 4.25. And then in October, they can convert it over to 4.26. Meanwhile, none of this is really work that they have to do. This isn't like, we got to like spend X amount of months getting this converted over. And then they can just convert over to 5.0 when it's available next year and have all those tools available. It's just, I think, for all gamers, or whether it doesn't matter which piece of hardware that you wave your flag for, everyone's going to benefit from this stuff. So just, it's going to be great. I mean, I think some of the games we're looking at now, we're going to be like, ew. Like 5 years from now, we'll be like, ew, Death Stranding.
That's gonna happen. We're gonna look at games like some of these games that, like, even at the beginning of this generation, we look at some of those games and we're like, oh god, we actually played that and liked it. Like, you were of games, so we're gonna see that too. I mean, it just comes down. We're gonna see it in other things like more technical stuff, and I think it's going to be more technical than graphically.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think that's why ray tracing such kind of a ray tracing is so much like having talked today. Is why ray tracing is talked about a lot. Because I think we've hit that pinnacle where graphics have become very lifelike in many cases. I'm playing Death Stranding again, and there's a scene with Sam Porter and his mom, and it's very like it looks very real, like and so. But when you add ray tracing and the lighting, and I think what we've seen, my one takeaway from a lot of the things that we've seen so far for these early next gen games is the one thing that I've taken away that I've noticed the biggest difference is the lighting and how quickly assets load up on the screen. Like with the Ratchet and Clank demo, like how quickly they was uploading a lot of the assets and things that were going on the screen at the same time. And then some of the lighting that we've seen in some of the other games, especially the Unreal demo, which was very impressive. But it's going to be. Look, either way, I think you said it, Slow-Mo. It's going to be exciting for gamers. Real quick, I get to get this super chat real quick. Mr. Milko with the $9 or with the $10 super chat says, shout out to this whole podcast. Great show every week. I have a feeling the Digital Foundry PS5 teardown will drop close to the Microsoft event to show how capable it is. That would surprise me if Sony pulled something off like that. Eric, do you have any comments, any thoughts on the whole 30 versus 60 thing?
Yeah, I would like to see 60 on next gen consoles, period. Like a performance mode of some sort.
Yeah, well said, man.
With that. I mean, there's not much more to say than that, man. I mean, why? We're supposed to be moving forward.
No, I get it, man. Yeah, that's kind of.
And I definitely, I don't know. I mean, I was not a big fan of the iterative console this generation, the make good, because it's like you're double dipping, and then I don't really think it pushed things forward that much, So to kind of be going into the next gen and hearing that it could be more of the same, that's pretty wet.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Wait and see mode. I'm also not somebody, I don't have a channel, so I don't need to run out there and try to get Twitter stirred up. I'm a consumer dude. I'll just wait and see. I speak with my
mind. Eric, you bring up a good point. I do feel like we will see more of those like mini jumps from Microsoft, but not so much from Sony. I think Sony, I think may do a PS5 Pro. I don't think they currently have any plans for one. Mm-hmm. But I think Microsoft, if you look at the fact that they have two separate SKUs that are at different levels of performance, I could really see them 3 years from now dropping like a Xbox Series Z or something, and then discontinuing the S. And then kind of making the X like the new S, and then the Z is like their top dog, almost kind of similar to what you see from cell phones, from smartphones, where but just not on an annual basis, where Samsung and Apple will drop a new phone every year, and then every year they discontinue supporting some older phone from like 3-4 years ago. Right. Like I think Microsoft is going towards that kind of content drop when it comes to hardware, but just not at that same level, the level of consistency with a new system every year. I'm thinking like every 3, but we'll see, because it just seems to me that whole talk of we're never going to lose the power argument again, like they mean it. Well, and the way you do that is that every 3 years you got you taking the best in the advancements and you throwing it into a console.
Yeah. And I mean, they definitely see they got people willing to do it, or willing to keep making that jump and fighting and arguing and telling people why it's smart.
Oh boy.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying. I mean, we see it. We see the evidence that, people will cap.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's kind of why. I agree with you. That's kind of why I made that joke earlier about people didn't arrive to certain conclusions on their own, right?
Right.
Which I kind of want to bring. This wasn't a topic, but to your point, like this whole Spider-Man thing that I've been seeing, this debate online, so ridiculous. like people saying that it's
Spider-Man got people in their feelings, man.
yeah, like
Wait,
people saying
what happened?
Them boys out there hurting, boy.
yeah,
hurting.
like the whole Spider-Man thing, like it's, how you PlayStation fans, how can you guys stand for this? Sony's screwing you guys. The game was developed on the PlayStation 4. It's DLC. This is terrible. Like, I mean, it's like,
No, it was developed for the PS5. They even said it.
I mean, well,
that part right there is marketing speak. Let's be for real.
Yeah, that's probably marketing speak, but I mean, that's the thing. If you want to move forward in the game, in gaming, you have to sell your console, okay? People don't realize that you have to freaking sell your console. If you're not going to sell your console, you're just going to be another Xbox. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. If you do not put exclusive games on a certain platform, people are not going to gravitate towards it. Yes, there are a lot of people who will gravitate towards features and all this other stuff, but exclusives are still kind of that thing that gravitates people to buy the next generation of consoles, and that's what PlayStation is doing. That's what I like what they're doing. I'm not upset that they're moving on from the PS4. I mean, we had how many great years with the PS4? What, 6 or 7 years?
7 years.
That's
yeah.
a long time. That's a long ass time.
like how much longer? Like how much longer do you have to wait for next generation? Like holy shit!
Exactly.
Like
It's
why do I
not
have to
going
wait?
to be. It's not going to be like last gen where it was like 10 years that we're going to have to wait for the next generation. We're not in a, well, I don't know. We're not in the same situation as we were back then. We're in a different situation now, of course, with things that are going on in the world, but we're still financially better off than we were then. Like back then we were everybody was hurting, everybody, like not just certain people, everybody was. So it's just like, you guys have got to realize that, like, if you don't want to get the new console, then don't get it. You don't have to pay. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying, hey, you need to buy this new console. You don't have to do it, but eventually you will, because you're going to want to play those games.
Yeah, but here, I mean, like basically at the end of the day, and I'll save that comment for later on when we talk about Phil's comments. But like Eric, what you were saying about what you're saying earlier, and what we've been talking about with people coming to that conclusion. Like I've seen the word anti-consumer used in the wrong way, like over and over again, and like people saying, oh well, this game is it's a PlayStation 4 expansion. Like this guy, Peter 420, appreciate the comment in the live chat, says Miles Morales is a PlayStation 4 expansion rush for PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 exclusively going to PC, just a matter of time. If you're a console gamer, this is going to PC isn't going to change that. Now look, we don't know if Miles Morales was a PS4 expansion rushed to the PS5. Like, how do we get to the? We can speculate.
Why does it matter?
But why does it matter?
They have a
Exactly.
console to sell. Look, back 7 years ago,
advantage of that console. So.
7 years ago, did anyone say, you know what? I'm really upset that Rise: Son of Rome isn't coming out on 360? Did anyone say? Man, why is the Order 1886 not on the PS3? No one. This entire argument makes no sense to me. They have this is a business. They have a new piece of hardware to sell you. They want you, and Jim Ryan said, and I quote, I want to get the PS4 community over to the PS5 as quickly as possible. Well, how do you do that? You make games only available on the new stuff. That's how you do it. The only reason people are capping for this is because their favorite piece of plastic isn't doing that, and they feel like they have to project what their platform is doing to other platforms. Nintendo doesn't do that. Sony doesn't do that. Nobody but Microsoft does that. Now all of a sudden that's the narrative. It's not.
Well, let's be for real though. the narrative swings on both sides depending on what the conversation is about.
And you are absolutely right, but the green team is getting that work right now. So we're gonna talk about green team.
This is the thing, though, that I think, right now, which one would you say is the bigger, like when it comes to Twitter, because this is where all this stuff comes from for the most part. When it comes to Twitter, would you say that most of the hardcore Xbox fan base is on Twitter more than the PlayStation fan base is?
No, I
don't know.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, I think
the hardcore Xbox fan base is way more represented on social media
better to do.
is PlayStation, because most of PlayStation people, I mean, think about just the sheer amount of people that are on PlayStation. There's over 100 million people that bought PlayStation's generation, where there's this very smaller, but half the people that bought Xboxes. I know more hardcore Xbox people than I know more hardcore PlayStation people. And that's
Forte, what does this have to do with what we're talking about?
Forte, I'm a little confused here.
Can you draw it in?
No, it makes sense. Let me explain, because it makes sense because he's basically saying is that Xbox, here's what makes Xbox smart. Okay, Xbox is ingraining in their fan base and in their on social media. They're very hardcore, like social media people. They are always on social media. No matter what, they're always there. PlayStation, you notice that they're not really kind of like that social media type group. So, Xbox, what they do is they're ingraining in their people to let them know that, hey, we're with you. We're gonna take you from Xbox One to Series X, and you're not gonna have to buy our Series X console, because they don't care about the
they don't care about this. And like I said,
hey, Optimus, you're botting, man.
About
Optimus, you're botting pretty bad, dude.
Again? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Dark Bottomus. Wait, real quick. I want to go to I don't mean to cut you off, Optimus, but you're botting. So I want to go to Eric, because Eric, I think, and then B Money. I think Eric, you were saying something real quick before I go to you, Eric. I want to get the super chat. Flaffy 1101 with the $2 super chat says, "Come on, Gaming Forte, keep that damage control." Thank you for the super chat, sir. Eric, go ahead, man.
No, I think Optimus was kind of going into the same place that I was going to go. It's the message, and here's the thing: like people, I find it funny that it seems like every time like Phil says something, all of a sudden there's Xbox E's or whatever you want to call the language that none of us seem to be able to understand. Only Xbox people do.
Right.
Well, you took what he said and you don't understand it. I was like, I'm pretty good at English in college. I'm pretty sure I understand what he's saying. Here's the thing. I'm not upset with Phil. I don't think his message is wrong. I don't think his philosophy is wrong. I just know from 2013 to now, his philosophy has changed. Why? Because their philosophy changes as they go, and they have a message to put out.
Yep. Yeah, they have a product to sell, and that's their marketing spiel right
good
now.
At what he does. Like he gets the base on board with what he's doing. But I find it hilarious that decades-old generational gamers are all of a sudden acting like the way it was even last gen. Oh, that was terrible. That was so wrong how all that was. It's anti-consumer to ask me to pay. I see dudes saying there's a $500 paywall to play a game. And it's like, why are y'all so fixated on Spider-Man? It's like, are y'all really being...
Did you spend $500, $600 on the Series X? I mean, the Xbox One X?
Right. It's like, theoretically, I could say... Well, theoretically, I could throw out and say, well, they were being anti-consumer by asking me to, to buy an Xbox One X and didn't really give me any compelling games to go along with it. But that's not really anti-consumer.
No, it's not.
That's consumerism. But here's the thing. The same dudes out here screaming that it's anti-consumer are the same dudes who pay for cable. They have no problem paying for cable.
That's a good analogy.
Breaking over the calls, everybody bitch to their wives. Man, they went up again. But I gotta watch HBO, and I gotta have my sports package. But every month the cable bill changes, and they know that what they're doing to you, and this and that. That's anti-consumer to get you into something, and then the next month It's not the same payment that you were making prior.
Yeah,
exactly.
Real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but I that whole paywall, because I've seen that. How the fuck is a product a paywall? You don't have to buy it.
Exactly.
No, wait, listen.
Well, it's the same thing with cable. You don't have to buy cable.
Right, yeah, listen, and they're putting out a product, and they're supporting this product by putting games on it, so you can enjoy said product you buy. I don't understand the paywall thing. If they gave you a brick, then maybe we can have a conversation. But this whole thing, like Peter 420, I'm not picking on you, Peter, but this is the kind of thing that I see. That PlayStation 4 is using PlayStation 4 base map and assets, plus Sony screwing over the 15 million customers that bought the 2018. How are they screwing them over? They gave you over. They gave you
bought the game, enjoyed it.
You bought the game, you enjoyed the original Spider-Man. They gave you 2 additional DLCs.
Three
DLCs, and on top of that, they're not just they're using assets, but they also went back. And they I forget what Insomniac mentioned in regards to the assets.
Story.
Yeah, it's a whole new story. It's a standalone game. They've added ray tracing. I forget what else they did. They did do something. I think they added like 4K assets or something, or I forget what it was. So it isn't just like a straight port with like shiny graphics. I mean, it is to an extent, but there are some technical things that Insomniac has specifically talked about that they're doing for this game that can't be done on the PlayStation 4. I mean, it's not a situation like with Battlefield at the beginning of this console generation where it came out in the 360 and then it came out on the Xbox One, and guess what? You got slightly better resolution, right? Like you're getting a standalone game.
The bottom line. There are different paths to consumerism and what you do and philosophies and how companies go about doing what they do. Phil and team have a philosophy and that they're running with. And I guarantee when he went in to sit with Satya was like, this little box is cute, but I don't see how this fits into what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to fix that, And maybe Phil believes everything that he says. Maybe he doesn't. But the bottom line is he had to do something to move forward with. If you look at how they're doing it, it fits into the Microsoft philosophy.
That's always said that.
Right? Yep. PlayStation has a philosophy. Nintendo has a philosophy. Where are we getting this thing from that only one has the right philosophy just because I prefer this one?
Well, that's just because one side of the base is louder than the other when it comes to these conversations.
Well, no, because it's like Adam has said, they're very good at social media being involved to the point where it's like it's like they're in an entanglement with these dudes.
I think I'm going to say something. I think I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off right now.
Don't say it out. Don't say it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm okay with it. It's fine. You can attack me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck. The thing is that the most anti-consumer thing that both of these companies do is make you pay to play games online.
Oh, that's disappearing. That's disappearing on July 23rd.
Right, exactly. That's what I heard. Is that it's disappearing. So hopefully, when that disappears, nothing you say will be anti-consumer anymore. So it's like I always see it every time on Twitter. PlayStation is giving PlayStation gamers this game that can only run on PlayStation 5, and I'm all like, okay. Makes no sense.
Right.
These people make no sense
at all. I mean, yeah, it's wild to me. I'm just like, do any of you guys think for yourselves? Because it's like, like we talked in DM about how like the whole cell phone thing works. I know people like to always compare. Well, the consoles are like cell phones now. Okay, so we're gonna talk that. Why is nobody pissed at Samsung and Apple when they drop a new device? Yes, it can run the older apps, but guess what? This one's gonna run them better, right? And now this one has a better camera and a better flash system. Your other one doesn't get that, but people still rock. And they keep rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we talking about?
We actually do have that. We're just not part of that ecosystem. There is that ecosystem that's out there.
No, it is. I mean, I've seen those.
That's the thing that people always keep forgetting. Like, we're in the gaming ecosystem, so a lot of this stuff that we hear just sounds crazy, but that's just That's just our echo chamber. There's many other ones, and the reason I just keep bringing up this whole Xbox and PlayStation thing with just the way that it's divided on social media stuff is, one doesn't if it's like right now you have a lot of news coming out for what Xbox is doing, so when that stuff happens like that, even if you're joking around, it comes off as like you are really being like you're trying to promote and have people come over from the other side. Because when you say stuff like paywall and everything like that, well, yeah, if you don't want to have your games behind a paywall, come over to Xbox. That's basically what it comes off as being like. So you're kind of promoting a platform and you're kind of being tongue in cheek and promoting it that way.
Yeah, it's facetious.
Yeah, you're being that way because it comes off as you joking, but to a lot of people, like when the outsider don't think like that, it just says like, "What are you talking about? That makes no sense." But me, I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't care what nobody says because I'm gonna think for myself. But ultimately, I laugh when I see stuff like that because I know what's happening here. I know what's going on. It's friends being with other friends and joking about the stuff in a platform that they have, or on Twitter or wherever they're doing it at. Or then but then this is the thing: what happens on July 23rd if Microsoft drops a stinker? Then you're going to hear the other side talking about like, oh well, I guess if you would have some exclusive games on your platform.
Yeah.
So this is a never-ending cycle that will never stop until people decide to stop it. So that's why this doesn't bother me. Does it make sense? No, not in my eyes because I don't operate like that. But guess what? That is how it is.
Yeah. No, I mean it's wild. I just I wanted to bring the Spider-Man thing up because I thought it was kind of interesting how people were saying it was anti-consumer, and I'm just like, huh?
You like the case?
Or, as you would say, Forte, what? Hey, B, I think you were going to say something earlier, man. What were you going to say, man?
Y'all pretty much summed it up, man.
Yeah. Real quick, guys. So all right. So I want to do the Death Stranding giveaway on PC. And we could do it through Steam. So I need someone. Okay, I need one of the Brat panel guys to keep an eye out who answers the trivia question correctly first. And then whoever answers the trivia question first correctly wins the copy of Death Stranding on PC on Steam. And you'll need to DM me on Twitter, BRAP_podcast on Twitter. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to do the let's see. I got to pick one of the trivia questions. All right. This comes from I think this is Slow-Mo's trivia question, if I'm not mistaken, regarding Mass Effect. Is that you, Slow-Mo?
Yes, sir.
All right, Slow-Mo, would you like to read since this is your question, sir, would you like to read it?
Sure. Shadow, you ready? Are you prepared?
Do you have Google up?
No, I know this off the top of my head.
I'm talking about. You're supposed to ask.
Oh, you're talking about them. Yeah.
I got Google up.
Get your Google searches ready.
And
right,
someone. Hey, by the way, I don't either. Someone in the live, not someone in the chat. Either Forte, B Money, or Eric. If you guys can keep an eye and see who answers it correctly first.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Slow-Mo.
Name the 3 novels Mass Effect lead writer Drew Karpyshyn wrote for the Mass Effect series.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Repeat it again, Slow-Mo.
Name the 3 novels Mass Effect lead writer Drew Karpyshyn wrote for the Mass Effect trilogy.
Right.
This is funny,
man.
Not the answer.
If it's not Shepard, it's not right.
I just thought of something. Someone should have given us the cheat sheet so I know what the answer is.
Yeah, I have no idea I actually don't know what the answer is. So maybe Slow-Mo, you should be keeping an eye on the chat to see who answers this because no one's answered it just yet.
Yeah, I mean it's 3 books, so
I'm surprised nobody said Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Hold on, wait a minute. Dizzy is close, but not quite there.
Oh, here we go. I think Frank Urban got it.
That it? Yeah, Frank Urban is correct. Congratulations, Frank Urban.
Yeah, Frank Urban, congratulations, man. You win a copy of Death Stranding on the best platform.
Dude's a nerd.
PC.
Hey,
Come on. Hey,
I read
Frank,
those books too.
yeah,
Yeah, then you're a nerd too.
yeah. Hey, Frank, if you could, real quick, Frank Urban, if you could DM me on Twitter, it's @brap_podcast. Put this in the chat real quick, man. Hold on.
Yep, those books are all right. They were, and I love the payoff in Mass Effect 3 as some of the side quests. Actually, one side quest in particular, the one with Jack from Mass Effect 2 is protecting these students at this academy, these biotic students, that really tied into the all of those books. It was really good.
All right, awesome. Well, congratulations to our winner, Frank Urban, with the Death Stranding. Get the free copy of Death Stranding. And then, guys, remember, we still have another game to give away. We're going to be giving away Ghost of Tsushima.
A nerd or just extremely fast internet.
Touche there, Frank Urban.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Frank got on that. He had Google open right away. So, so awesome. Yeah, Frank, congratulations. And
I
our pleasure, man.
I bet half the people who were searching for it misspelled Drew Carpenter's name 5 million times and couldn't get the answer.
Oh yeah,
I think Dizzy came close, right?
Dizzy had one of the book's names, and then the other two were like, I feel like he almost like didn't do it right on purpose because the other two weren't it. It was so close. Actually, no.
Yeah, he said he didn't answer it on purpose.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Did he know?
I think he did know. Yeah, because he said revelation, which he misspelled. Then he said deception and revolution, and I'm looking at it like that's almost it, but
Yeah, I don't know, man. All right, so congratulations again to Frank Urban. Again, DM me, Frank, on the Twitter so we can get together and coordinate me getting you a gift copy of Death Stranding on PC through Steam. So, all right, guys, I want to move on to the next topic of the evening. Why has Ubisoft done dirty to my beloved Splinter Cell franchise? It seems like every time there's an Ubi event, we all clamor and hope for a Splinter Cell, and what we got was like a mobile game of Sam Fisher, like an appearance of Sam in a mobile game. I mean, I forget what the mobile game is too. I don't even remember the
Elite
title.
Squad.
Elite Squad. Thank you. And I saw the trailer, and I'm just like, oh boy, they did Sam terrible.
Okay. I was done thinking about getting a Splinter Cell when those dudes drunk trolled us on Twitter.
You remember? Yeah, you remember that?
I was about to say that.
So I've been done for about 2 E3s, and I'm like, yo, if it's where they're clowning us,
they sure were clowning y'all. Those were a group of creative directors for like 5 different Ubisoft games, just going around trolling y'all. I'm like, that's just not right.
Disrespect.
I ain't never making that game.
No, there were. Go ahead. Sorry.
Say what?
There was actually a Splinter Cell in the making, but it didn't work with the new formula that Ubisoft has. That's what happened.
I heard it got canned. Yeah, it was on the shelf. But still, I mean, I don't know what I know the last Splinter Cell came out was 2013, towards the end of last generation. And I don't know what the sales numbers were for that particular Splinter Cell. I thought it was one of the better Splinter Cells in the franchise.
How dare you say that?
Oh, come on, man! It was good, man. It was. I thought it was
good game, but no Michael Ironside.
Oh, well, yeah, it was. It was missing Michael Ironside.
That's the one thing that would have put it over.
Yeah, the staple of Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, like it's like how do we get a game like Bug Snacks, but we can't get Splinter Cell?
Nobody bought the game, man. That's why.
Yeah, it's because Ubisoft has refused to sell that property off to somebody else. Because I think they're holding on to it because I think they want to make one, but they're just trying to figure out how to implement it into their new formula, which Actually, I think their new formula. I think actually their formula is probably going to change this next generation.
I was about to say that they have actually come out and said that themselves after Breakpoint, Ghost Recon Breakpoint bombed,
Yeah.
and they said, and then like the overwhelming reaction or feedback to Breakpoint was, stop selling us the same game with a different name on it, and so they were like, wow. Hey, maybe what they've been saying for 2 years is actually true. So they like, that's the reason why they canceled one game from one of their studios out of Canada. They pushed back a whole bunch of other games. Probably the reason why we haven't seen anything from Beyond Good and Evil 2 in forever. And Skull and Bones. They are retooling a lot of these games and trying to make them more unique. It's also the reason why there's some traction about getting a single player narrative driven game out of the that Division world. And it's just like, that was like a small little spark on Twitter where people were like, I would love to see that. And then the creative director was like, really? I really want that. All right, well, we'll see what happens. And it's like, after all this, it's like, maybe that might actually happen. If they can do that, they can do a Splinter Cell game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's I think that's where they're kind of try to go towards this next gen. So hopefully we'll see some more other franchises come back, because there's a lot of franchises in their roster that they have.
Prince of Persia. Big shout out to Predator H2O. Just mentioned Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
Prince of Persia. Yep.
I mean, honestly, like I'm getting a little fatigued with Assassin's Creed. Like, I saw Valhalla, and I was kind of like, okay.
It's Odyssey. It's Odyssey with Vikings. That's what it is.
Yeah,
yeah. It's reskin,
slightly better combat. They just
slightly better.
Yeah, it's like Assassin's Creed is turning into the Madden of the of this genre, where they just like they come out with a new version of it, and it's just slightly different here or there. It's not much of a change, but hey, look, we got a new combat, in animation. There you go. That's different.
A part of me, because people were over the the annualization of it. And then they changed the formula. And now that they have that formula, it's like, all right, we're back.
Yeah, they just do the same formula all over again. It's just,
a part of me actually hopes that Assassin's Creed Valhalla fails, because I love that franchise, and I will still say to this day Brotherhood is probably the best one in that entire franchise. But I think the route that they're going with Valhalla, I just kind of hope that it fails, that it doesn't sell well.
Damn, why do you want a game to fail, Optimus? Come on, man.
Because then it'll wake them up and to say, okay, well, we need to restructure our formula even more, and bring out games that we haven't made in a long time. I mean, look at Beyond Good and Evil 2. How long did it take them to actually make another one of those? Because they were like 20 years. Now we can figure out how to fit it into our formula. Well, and how come we haven't heard of it since 2018 or something like that?
That's because it's too ambitious, man. They should never went that route.
Yeah, that's probably why they're like, okay, we're scaling it back. I almost can kind of guarantee that that's what's happening with Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I hope they don't scale it back. Just put it on next gen consoles and PC.
Well, it is going to be on next gen consoles. It's not going to be on this gen that we have right now.
Yeah. Look, I
see them with Ragnarok. It's like they're trying to work in some of the old hallmarks of Assassin's Creed, like with the blending into the crowd, like stealth stuff, and being able to switch. I know they're pulling in like from Syndicate, switching the protagonist. You can go back and forth between the two. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still have Origin and Odyssey to play, so I don't know.
I have tried to play Odyssey 3 times, and I just come to.
I have 2 slow-mo.
It's too big.
It's pause, but yeah.
Wow.
It is true. It's, you open up that map and you're just like, nah, fam. Doing all this.
Slow-mo, when you open
What's
that map,
going on?
it's intimidating, man. It's like, whoa, look at all these locales I got to go to.
And you notice a little bit with Valhalla, it's kind of scaled back a little bit. You notice that? Like when you see the map of
seems like that,
Valhalla,
yeah.
it was a little bit scaled back. So, I mean, I think they're learning from their mistakes.
Well, they said Valhalla was going to be a smaller game. I think the map size is actually bigger, but I think they're scaling back on all those, like, you know, some of the side quest stuff. Like you said, the map is cleaner.
Go fight a bear.
It's probably not as full as just, you know, with like the filler and fluff, which, again, that's something I'm hoping that more game devs start to take into consideration, is like, don't give me the perception of value by bloating a game. Like, make it all mean something.
Exactly.
That's a great point, E. Yeah.
Which also that gets people heated when you say that. Like, why can't games be what they're supposed to be? And be like, oh, gosh, shut up.
Real quick, I get the super chat from Webhead420 with the $2 super chat. It says, love the show, man. Forte and Slimo are hilarious. Thank you for that super chat, man. Forte and Slimo are hilarious. You know, I try. I just want to see. Look, I don't know. Again, I don't know what I forget what the title of the last Splinter Cell was.
Blacklist.
Blacklist. Yeah, thank you, B. But I loved it. It was one of the better looking games last generation. Really good looking game. And you know, I think, again, I can only speak for myself, but I don't know. I think at least that there's people out there that want this game. I don't know how well it would sell, but I mean, geez, I mean, like, it's almost like a way. Like, what are you guys doing with him? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I guess I hear what you guys are saying. Like, doesn't fit into their blueprint, if you will, the Ubi blueprint. But geez, does everything have to be this big open world game? We got Watch Dogs. We have
for them,
Assassin's Creed, Ghost Recon. I mean, Jesus.
I think this is what Ubisoft is kind of like. They kind of paint themselves into a corner, so to speak. The issue is that, especially if you look into all of their games that are coming out, they always got like 5 studios working on one game, and you think like, wow, that's so many resources. But then you look deeper, and you look at another game, and you see some overlap. Well, there's 2 or 3 of the studios that are working on this game are working on that.
Great point.
And you look at another game, and you see even more of those studios working on that. Yeah. They got their studios. They got so many co-development studios helping their main studios, but they're all working on all of their other properties. And you add in a game that isn't like those other games. See, they've made it so streamlined that those co-development studios can help those main studios because they're all kind of using the same assets for everything.
It's like a factory, Slobo.
Right. So but then you add in something that's completely different, like Splinter Cell, and you're like, oh, man. Like, well, I don't have the time to have this one studio really make something that's going to be completely different in your game, or to help you develop a whole different gameplay loop that's different than the typical, let's go to this area, clear out all these generic side missions, the same side missions you did the previous area.
Go kill a bear.
Find the mini boss, kill the mini boss, see cutscene about mini boss dying, the big boss, the final boss at the end gets mad, next area. That's literally like the formula of all of their open world games.
Slow-mo, you just completely
there, and now there's a problem because now you got studios like, well, I can't help you work on this because I gotta create a whole different thing that we've not been doing for the past 5 years.
Slow-mo, you just completely turned me off on Assassin's Creed now when you said that. You know, like,
it's
go here, go here.
Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5.
Now, Far Cry 6. Far Cry 6 though does look that trailer looked pretty dope though.
Yeah, that's the appeal to Far Cry. Their villains are amazing.
Yeah, they're villains.
Villains.
But they ain't in the game long enough for them to be
right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I'm hoping if you go and get a Giancarlo, you gotta
right,
like all the way through. You got to do something like major with him, man. Because
facts.
And like I said, it seems like he's really behind it, and he doesn't seem like the type of dude that's just going to put his name on just to do like a project like that. He seems to be very serious about his craft.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they kind of do that because like I think Voss is probably still like my favorite Far Cry like villain.
Yeah.
I didn't play 5, so I can't really speak to that, but I wanted to kind of say I think to me, the best Ubisoft was between like the Far Cry 3 and then when they were introducing like some indie stuff and they were still working with Rayman, they were doing all these things. And then I think they're still one of the most premier developers, but they have become very formulaic about what works.
Right.
And what's going to get them votes, which is understandable. Again, it's all business. They know they're trying to run a business, but
Trying to make
I think
money.
they got away from what made people really take notice. Because if you remember, they went through one point where they were kind of falling off and people were like, yo, what's going on with their games? Because you used to be able to set your watch to how their games would work and run. Like you didn't worry about them being buggy and worry about them being messy. And then they got messy for a bit and then they tightened that up and they were dropping, Child of Light, they fixed Rainbow Six and they were kind of getting that name back out there. But they were doing fun projects also. Now it's like they kind of got away from it. Now they're kind of going back to that with like how they jacked up Ghost Recon and everybody hated it.
Yeah, I think that has something to do too with the takeover that was going to take place.
Mm-hmm.
They were making like all the fun stuff, and they probably weren't making as much money from doing all that stuff, and that takeover is going to take place. So they got into a groove where like, all right, let's maximize the most profit that we can, so that way we can protect our assets.
Mm-hmm. And it worked. They did stave off the takeover. They were able to retain enough of their shares to stay in control. But the side effect of that is that everyone has had Ubisoft patented open world overload at this point. Yeah. And it's time for something different. And their games should all be different. The difference between Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint shouldn't be well, one has levels and the other one doesn't. Like that shouldn't be the difference. It shouldn't be that somebody like Skill Up can actually go into Wildlands, take footage of a building and find that same exact building in Breakpoint in a different area, and it looks like someone just literally just plopped it in the middle of the jungle, and it makes no sense because it doesn't even have like vines growing on it or anything. Like literally, you didn't do any additional work here. You just took the same asset and you put it in the other game.
How come that's not anti-consumer?
But do you guys notice that most of their games are like 2 years apart? Like that's the problem is that they're not giving they're not giving them enough time to make these games better. And that's why I think Breakpoint really opened their eyes to saying, oh, okay, yeah, well, maybe we need to scale it back a little bit and maybe we need to do certain things. I mean, if you take a look at Breakpoint now, it's a completely different game than what it was when it launched. Like I actually started it up again, and like you have like teammates and like you have like, I mean, of course you had that in Wildlands, but there's a more of they call it like immersive mode where you can basically customize the way that you play the game, and you can turn it to any difficulty. Like enemies can be at any difficulty. It turns off the gear, like how like they do with the Division, where the Division has like gear score and stuff like that. Right. It turns that off. It turns all that off, and it makes it. I feel like it makes it more of a Ghost Recon game at that point when they turn that stuff off.
That's great to hear, because like if people wanted to play the way Breakpoint started out, they would just go play the Division if that's what the kind of game that you're looking for. And that's not what people who look for Ghost Recon. Like I love the Division, but when I was very disappointed with how they did Breakpoint, because I also enjoy playing Wildlands with friends, but I enjoy being able to headshot a dude from like 300 yards away. And then getting the wind distance just right, getting the drop just right, and being able to like make sure that shot works. Like I enjoy, that's like the uniqueness that was so different with Wildlands compared to what their other third person cover shooting games were. And so it's just like to lose that, I'm like, well, what's the purpose of playing this? So I'm glad they kind of like went back to the drawing board on that. It kind of makes me a little mad myself because I saw it on sale for like $10 or something a little while ago.
They definitely are updating. That's the thing about Ubisoft. Like when they see something that's like dampening their company, they usually go back and say, hey, okay, you guys need to go in and give, and they're giving out this stuff for free. They're not giving it to you, they're not making you pay for it. They're giving it to you for free. They're putting in live events, they're putting in things that draw people back to the game, and that's kind of what Ubisoft has been kind of known for, is to do that if their game doesn't do well. And even if the game does do well, they kind of have DLC and stuff like that they input. But when it doesn't do well, they usually give it out for free and things like that, because they know that they screwed up. I think hopefully this next generation, they realize that not every game has to be an open world.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I gotta get the super chat, guys.
Breakpoint $15 on PC right now.
Wow. I got to get the super chat here, guys. Casual 7 with the $5 super chat says, that's the thing with Ubisoft. Their games have always been very formulaic with recycled assets, AC, Ghost Recon, Far Cry, Watchdog, in the Division. That's a great point. And then we also have another super chat from Webhead420 with the $2 super chat says, AC has not been the same since Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So thank you again for the super chats, guys.
Well, I would say before that.
Yeah.
I'd say before even that, yeah. Unity. I'd say before Unity. Unity sucked.
Yeah, Unity wasn't good. Yeah.
Syndicate wasn't good. I think Unity killed any concern or hype or anything. Unity was a mess, man. Remember that when they put that embargo out, it came out noon after the game had launched.
I remember that. Yeah. Unity was very ambitious, but
you could fall through the buildings and stuff, man.
Yeah. You would see the people, the NPCs. You would see their see right through them and see their skeletal structure or something, right?
Yeah.
When you would talk to them,
with friends, your friend is invisible. You can't see him. Don't know what you're doing.
The review embargo dropped at noon after the game release.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah. Speaking of review embargoes, real quick, guys, before we get to the last topic, I do want to mention, and this is relates to the game that we're going to be giving away later on, Ghost of Tsushima. That game has reviewed. It's getting 84 Metacritic, so a good score for a new game. But this is exciting. Sony's delivered another new franchise that seems to be starting off on a good foot, and could be something that they build upon with the PlayStation 5. So I'm getting my copy on Friday. I cannot wait to play. What about the panel? What do you guys think?
I'm all in on that one. I'm definitely going to play it. This is the game I decided, I looked at, I was like, I'm either going to play Death Stranding on PC or I'm going to play Ghost. And I said, look, I know what I'm getting from Ghost. I think I'm going to get that one instead. So I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm hyped. I'm not much else to say. I'm looking forward to it. I'm always down with a new IP. I love that setting. I like Sucker Punch. So there's not much. Let's get into it, see how it is.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Sucker Punch too. And once they announced it was going to be set in Japan, that was day zero for me. So can't wait to get that collector's edition home and set that mask up on my desk.
That mask is fire, by the way. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah,
yes, sir. And you gotta love new IP time, because you start getting your low res screenshot, cell phone plays, and people capping they were gonna buy the game, but they really weren't.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man.
So I'm just throwing shade. That's all. But
I think
it's funny, man. You see that all the time. You're right, E. Well said. Go ahead, Odimus.
I think for me, I can always tell when I'm hyped for a new IP or a new game, is when I'm just game hopping around weeks before that game comes out, because I'm just okay, I'm just right now I'm just I went into Ghost Recon. I'm just playing it. I'm not really interested in finishing the game, or I'm hopping around playing UFC or FIFA, stuff like that. I normally can tell when I'm really jonesing for a new game when I'm playing sports games.
Oh man, it's wow.
I can always tell.
Playing Madden?
I'm always like, yeah, playing Madden. Like I'm just like, yep, I'm jonesing for something good. And from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, I'm excited for Ghost of Tsushima. I think Sucker Punch is probably one of the PlayStation companies that are just they almost they appeal almost, I feel like, only to people who enjoy action adventure games, and they really bring that type of game to another level than say some other games, like they kind of they like, especially like with Infamous, like they made those games, and oh gosh, those games were great. Even Second Son, even though it wasn't like a smash hit or anything, but it was still a good game. It still had different types of mechanics, and this game right here has some of the mechanics we haven't seen in games in a long time. Like, I mean, there's games probably maybe like back in maybe the PS2 original Xbox days where they had that samurai type of mechanics, but we haven't seen that in a while. I mean, yeah, you get games like Sekiro and Dark Souls and things like that, and Witcher, but they're not that samurai combat, that feeling of being a true warrior, and this game is based off of a true war. So I'm super excited, as you can tell. Like, I'm talking about it a lot. I'm super excited about this game. I can't wait. I think Sucker Punch has really is really gonna solidify itself as being a top tier developer when this game hits on Friday.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Well said. I mean, again, I think this is a great starting point for a new franchise for Sony, and that's the one thing that really excites me about the PlayStation right now is that this generation we got some new franchises that I'm excited about. With we've seen we're seeing Ghost of Tsushima now. Days Gone actually surprised me. It's one of my surprise games this generation. I didn't think I was going to like it, and I played it and was absolutely hooked, and I'm looking forward to the sequel to that game. That was like the first AAA game that Sony Ben had worked in quite some time. And then Horizon Zero Dawn, which we've seen the sequel to at last month's PlayStation event. So definitely super excited for next generation and seeing sequels to these games. Real quick, guys, I do want to get to the last topic before we do the Ghost of Tsushima giveaway. First, want to thank everyone in the live chat, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this evening. Remember, if you haven't done so, hit that like button. And if you're new to the show, subscribe as well. Hit that bell notification so you're notified when we go live. And our last topic of this evening has to do with Phil Spencer's comments on generational exclusives. This article from Game Industry Biz, this interview that he did, really had a lot of people talking about this particular comment, where Phil's basically saying he believes that generational exclusives are completely counter to what gaming is about. Of course, he's referring to, the Xbox Series X, where you don't necessarily have to buy a Series X to enjoy the upcoming Halo Infinite game. And I'll say this real quick, I'll give my 2 cents. The one thing that kind of I found some irony in this tweet or this comment, and when I tweeted that out, you can imagine the responses, but I thought it was kind of interesting because Phil says that it's that generational exclusives are completely counter to what gaming is about. And I understand why he said that, and that has to do with the direction of Xbox, with the first 2 years them supporting the older consoles. You don't have to upgrade to buy the latest and greatest of new first party exclusives. But the irony of that is that at some point, Phil, that's going to change after 2 years, where you're going to have to buy an Xbox Series X or presumably Lockhart to enjoy these games. So what you're doing, you're basically going to get to the same place Sony is, but you're doing it 2 years later. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he said that, considering at some point 2 years down the road after the launch, they're going to get to that point. But I want to go to you, Optimus, because you're our special guest of the evening. What were your thoughts about his comments, man? What you think that's kind of spot on? Do you think it's exclusives or counterintuitive to what gaming is? What gaming is all about?
I think he believes that, but I think that the reason why he's saying that is because he has, the backing of Microsoft. Microsoft is, that company that is just like, whatever's going to make us money, let's do it. They've kind of been like that. Back in the past, when Bill Gates was around, they were more about like, let's make something that's just cool. Like that's why they kind of got into gaming, is because it was a cool thing, and I don't think they were really expecting to make any money off of it. I think they were just like, oh, that's cool, I think we should do it, why not, and they did that with the Xbox. And then with this one, I think it's really just I think if that's what he believes, and that's fine, then that makes me think to myself, I don't have to buy a Series X. I can just wait 2 years to buy a Series X. I can just be happy with a PS5 or whatever, and still play the quote unquote Xbox exclusives on a Xbox One X. I don't have to buy another $500-600 console to play those games. But I think it does kind of dampen that console to where it's like, okay, well, I don't have to buy it, so then I'll just keep my One X and play, whatever on there. And then I think it gives this a lot of this mixed messaging towards, I really think it doesn't confuse anybody, but it gives that kind of like that feeling of like, what? Like don't you want this console to sell so that you can make money off of it? And I think it's really they're really, I think what they're trying to do is move more towards just making it Xbox Game Studios, and that's it. No more consoles. Maybe have a streaming service. Maybe have like because they've never really been like a hardware type of company. They've been more of a software company, and unlike with Sony, they're more of a hardware company than they've been software-esque. So I think they'll continue, I think, to make hardware. So with Nintendo, I think they'll continue to make hardware. But I think Microsoft is really kind of gearing people up to say, okay, we're moving to like Game Pass being the biggest thing for us, because I mean they've seen results with Game Pass. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with them moving away from console and just going straight to like a Game Pass or something like that. That's fine. I mean, that's okay. Like I don't think that would deter gamers from being a part of that platform anymore. I think it would just be like, okay, well, I don't have to buy the next console, or if they say, well, this will be our last console, but in the future you'll be able to play all your games here, and that's what they're gearing up for. Is just you're gonna be able to play your games all right here. That's it. You're not gonna have to do anything. Services is really the key with Microsoft. But on the other hand, with Sony, I think it's more they like that physical, those single player, those that hardware. They like the tech stuff. They like getting in and making something different. So it's really it's really, I think, what Microsoft wants out of Xbox is a more streamlined set of maybe products with gaming. So that's why I think they changed their studios to just be Xbox Game Studios, and that was it. They didn't. It's just, I think I think they're gearing people up for stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I bring this up, I about the Series X, I do get people. Peter 420 just said this in the live chat because I've had a couple people say this to me too. They say technically you won't need to buy Series X to play Series X only games. You still be able to play them on xCloud, Xbox. You'll still be able to play them on Xbox One via xCloud. And B, I know you and I talked about that in DM. B, what was your comment to that when I brought? Because I know we talked about this in DM, but what was your comment to that again?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing when people ask to, backwards compatibility on PlayStation, and PlayStation says, well, we got a product for you. It's called PlayStation Now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's an option. But if I want to play the game natively, I got to buy the next console. And that's just the end of the story. So everybody who keeps saying, like, oh, I can just play it in the cloud. Yeah, that's an option. That's cool. But what happens when you don't have any internet connection? You can't get access to the cloud. Then all that you got to buy the console at the end of the day.
Or you have spotty internet.
Right. What if you got data cap? Then what?
Right. You have some more to say, B? Like,
no,
I want to know. I wanted to kind of jump back in and say, well, like to what Adams was saying, no, I think Microsoft, they definitely took gaming seriously. I think part of it was the cool factor, but it was definitely they wanted to get in, like some people were saying in the chat, is because they saw an opportunity to be in the living room, where they saw Sony was trying to look at that opportunity to be in the living room too. And they were seeing, you can look at different interviews with like Seamus and Peter Moore, and Peter in particular, he had a vendetta because he felt Sony pretty much demolished Sega. So he really wanted to come back and hit hard at that. And for years, they were seen as like the goofy kids on campus that nobody really took serious. That's a different thing now. Like, they are very much in the mix. And plain and simple, like I said, Phil, I'm sure, believes in the philosophy that he's preaching, but he's not preaching it just to preach it. Look at what they're trying to do. They are Xbox and they are also PC, but Xbox is the platform now. It's no longer just the box. And I know there are people who still try to hold on to that. But if you go back and listen to old Braps, and I know there's like podcasts around that kind of get credit for saying things over a year and this and that, but go back. We were saying back then, this is becoming a platform. This is no longer about just the box.
Yeah, we said that like 4 or 5 years ago, right, on the show.
And so it makes sense to hear Phil say, I don't believe in we don't believe in generational exclusives. Why? Because they have to look at PC and the box. And they don't care where you play. That is absolutely true. They don't care where you play it. That's going to be their philosophy because that's their message. They are very focused and now including the PC player and playing it across the board. And it kind of started with that DNA of focusing in on backwards compatibility, which came out of a necessity because they didn't really have much to push forward as far as new content. So they were kind of looking at what do we do to kind of stave off and kind of give people something to kind of look forward to as we address these other issues, give them their old library because we had some really key content there. So that kind of became part of the philosophy as well. If you go back, you can look, the philosophy has changed from point to point to point to point. Not necessarily that it's a bad thing. It's just funny how people just, everything that's thrown, they just automatically adopt it. Like the thing that came before it was whack. In the beginning, it was very much about exclusives and games. There was no talk of generational exclusive. Exclusive was exclusive. We have the games. We have the best lineup in Xbox history, right? Somewhere along the line that changed. And it's like every time people kind of adopt it. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But again, my main argument is it doesn't make what the other guy's doing wrong. They have a different philosophy. But it should just be about what we're being offered as gamers. I wish gamers would kind of get to a point, and I think gamers in general are at a point. It's just this little bubble of Twitter where it's become more about energy keeping, score keeping, infighting.
Oh, yeah.
That. Why not just stand together and say, hey, we're not taking any of your bullshit. This is what we want.
And I think that's what's happening is that most, consumers are saying this is what we want. So that's what they're going to go do. They're going to go buy the next, when the next gen consoles come out, they're either going to buy a PS5 or they're going to buy an Xbox Series X. And guess what? They're going to ask people that they know what's going to have certain things that they tailor to, and they're going to make their decision from that. And, it seems like, people are going to let them know, like, hey, if you don't really technically have to buy a Series X, and people are going to be like, okay, well then I won't buy that one. I'll just buy a PS5. So it's definitely it definitely I think is going to dampen the console a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be to that extent of like it's gonna completely ruin the console. I think it'll just be like that, like, okay, well, I can wait, basically.
Yeah, I think they're okay with that, honestly.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why
they only care about they want to get people in Game Pass and things like that. Which is fine. Like, and that's a great point, Eric. Like, there's no right and wrong here. Like, they're taking two different approaches. Well, Frank Urban said Forte must be playing Destiny. I'm pretty sure he is. He's been quiet.
Yeah, he pretty much.
Yeah. He's playing Destiny right now. But
no,
I mean, yeah, but like Eric said, there's no right and wrong here. Like, they're taking
I'm not
different
playing
approaches.
Destiny. I'm just sitting here listening to the conversation.
Okay. There's no right and wrong
here.
here.
What's that supposed to be?
What?
What's that supposed to be? Oh, okay.
Like, okay, like you're not playing Destiny.
Oh, okay. Because you could literally look in Discord and see.
No, I have Discord shut down, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Slobo says
Unlike
the guy
Slobo, I don't hide online.
Wow.
Well, you got to call the man out like that, dude.
Slobo, you gonna take that from him, man?
Yes, I am, because I do hide online. I don't want people bothering me when I play games. If I want to talk to you,
he don't want to get called
I will reach out.
Don't get it twisted. He don't want to get called out on playing games that he say he hate.
Yeah,
he don't want to be called out on playing games that aren't easy.
About?
That's what.
Because he's playing Grounded right now. He doesn't want people to know he's actually playing Grounded.
He doesn't want people to know that he's actually playing Bug Snacks before everybody else.
Oh, Bug Snaps.
Yeah. Wow. So look, I mean,
I would never play that trash.
Yeah. So look, I will say this too. What other part of the article? Real quick, I don't know if Slumbo and Gabe, do you guys have anything to say on that piece of that Phil article about generational exclusives?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Look.
Go first. I'll go.
Go ahead. Preach.
So. All right. So. Phil's comments, like he's basically trying to sell you on this platform, and it makes sense. This is his philosophy on how he feels about where gaming is going and yada yada yada. He's not wrong, but then he's also not right. And what I mean by that is that, like, Sony doing things the way they're doing things doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's what works for them. So it's both of these companies have different philosophies on how they're going into next generation. Phil's doing what he needs to do to keep the Xbox brand going, because the old way was going to get them out the door, and Xbox sold off to a different company, or something, or shut down completely. So look, I get it. It's fine. This is your platform. And in this platform with Game Pass, knowing that there are people who are still not going to jump to next generation right away, you need to continue to make sure that you got games going to them as well as games going to the newer platform. So, hey, yeah, you're going to market it that way. But that doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that it's just simply your opinion on things.
Right.
This is all what's going on. All Phil is doing is trying to sell people on what Xbox is doing, period. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even matter if he believes it or not. Right. I mean, I'm fairly certain everyone who works for Stadia don't believe in Stadia, but they will go out when they get someone puts a camera in front of their face, or some press come to them. They're going to talk about it like it's the greatest thing ever, and no one plays it. This is their job. This is what they do. So hey, I don't really believe in generational exclusives. That's what he's saying right now. What was he saying 2 years ago? I don't believe in showing games beyond 18 months out. But what have they showed us? Everwild, Hellblade 2, Project Mara. I can go on. The games they're going to show next week aren't coming out within 18 months. So it's all about what I can do right now is what I'm going to tell you. Jim Ryan. Oh, hey, who wants to play them ugly ass games? Them games ugly now. Who wants to play that? Hey, we got backwards compatibility.
Exactly.
They will tell you what the going narrative is for their company, period. Nintendo, we ain't do that half a deli. Let Nintendo decide that they're going to actually want to compete when it comes to power. The narrative will flip because they got something to sell you now. This is all it is. Stop falling for the okie doke. They are salesmen through and through. This is why they got the jobs they got, because they're good at it. They're really good salesmen.
Right.
This is how they're doing it. They're selling you on their narrative. And if you buy in, that's cool. If you love what he said, that's cool. But understand what it is. It's a sales pitch. And Phil's a great salesman. There you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Just business, baby. Just
and the thing that's funny to me is people seem to not understand. Like, there are people who work within these companies who are complete fans of the competing platform.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably sitting there like, I don't agree at all with what they're talking about. But guess what? I get a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And if this is what we're doing to make this happen, I'm on team. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But they may still prefer something else. You know what I'm saying? So like you said about this, like the Stadia thing, I'm sure people that work for Stadia are like, I don't give a damn about this platform. But
it's a job. I got bills to pay.
So we do it right. You know,
Stadia is great.
Stadia is a bomb. You know?
I got bills to pay.
When they go down to the Tesla, it's like figure on it. You know what I'm saying?
You know, and I'm not saying they're all completely like they tell you something, they go home and like, I hate these people, I hate this job, it's trash. Like I really do believe a lot of them understand and really feel the way they feel about certain things. But the reason why they couch it the way they do, the way they say things the way they do, it feels very good at speaking to the press and really getting to the point of what he wants them to like, what he wants to impart to the Xbox community out of that interview. He doesn't go into it with just, I'm just going to answer some questions and get up out of here. There's a particular message he wants to give them. He's very good at doing that. He's very good at making sure that message gets out there. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, so, he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, he's there, like you said, Slobo, he's there to sell a product, right? And you know, given the position they're in, he's playing to their strengths right now. Right now, their strengths are services,
right?
And things like Game Pass and backwards compatibility, and you know, no gamer left behind. That's all marketing speak. Like
I'll tell you this, right? 2 years from now, the games they show next year, not next year, next week, if some of them come out within 2 years, and it's like certified banger, it's amazing. 94 plus Metacritic, everyone's loving it. You're going to see that become a part of the mantra when it comes to these Xbox executives. They can't talk that talk right now.
Yep.
But let them get a game like that. You're going to hear that kind of talk. That's why Sony talks that talk. They go, yeah, we got 95, 96, 91. What you want? We got all the bangers over here. But if the narrative flips, if they don't get another 90 in the next 2 or 3 years, you might see things change a little bit in regards to how they speak about things. It's all about what your position is in, what your strengths and weaknesses are at that moment, and then using that to the best of your ability.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, that's all companies do this. They all play to their strengths, right? They all do that. Microsoft's not going to go out there and say, well, guys, you know, we hope to do a better job in AAA exclusive next generation, or giving you compelling new IPs. We're going to give it a good, we're going to give the old college try, though.
College try.
They're not going to do that. And PlayStation's not going to come out and say, well, guys, you know, we're going to, up our game with PlayStation now, and hopefully, you know, add some first party games to a date for you guys. What do you guys think? You know, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. You know, and Nintendo's not going to say, hey, we hope to finally, you know, give you guys actually like gamer tags or something instead of social security numbers. That's not friends online. Yeah, it's not.
One bad mother in the chat said we all do that. You don't approach the ladies telling them about your weaknesses first.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Hey, my name's Slow-Mo, and I have bad credit. I can't save my life.
Say bug snacks before everybody else.
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so true though. Like OBM's
my
right.
Pull-out game is weak.
Wow, oh my god.
You say pull-out game?
Wow. Oh my goodness. Yo,
You'll walk over and be like,
I don't know what just happened.
you
yeah,
definitely
What just happened here?
yeah. What just happened, Forte?
I don't know what just happened here. It just went up. It all just went left.
It went left like GRD one night.
It just went left.
Oh my god.
Look,
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I
Forte.
was saying, so I think for me, Phil Spencer, and I think the biggest distinction that people have to like kind of, I always tell people, remove yourself from the situation as much as you can, because I kind of see where he's coming from when he's talking about this stuff. It doesn't mean he's right, because these companies just spin the narrative to exactly what they want you to hear and what's going to benefit them the most, because that's just the marching orders they have. You know, Phil Spencer isn't the head of Microsoft. You know, he has a person he has to answer to, just like all of these people that come back on him talking about how he's been flip-flopping throughout the whole generation. Well, half the generation he had Terry Myerson he had to answer to, and that's kind of the direction they had to go in. So that's where he went with a lot of that stuff when he talked about the things he said. Now, you know, Jim Ryan is now the head of PlayStation, and you know, when he said stuff like, you know, people don't, you know, protect the kids from crossplay, and he said things like nobody wants to play old games, you know, that might be because of the direction PlayStation was going on in that direction. And now it's a new day, it's a new person that's in charge of it, so a lot of things change. You put your image on top of it, and that's what you roll with. I just think that the further along in generations we get now, we're starting to become more PC than anything. And he's not telling you a lie when he's talking about how the ecosystems kind of coexist with each other. I just always go back to the fact that they started this conversation like 4 or 5 years ago when they started with Play Anywhere, when they were allowing you to play those games wherever you wanted to. This isn't like a shot in the dark for Microsoft. This has always been, for the most part, ever since Phil has been either head of Xbox or been the VP, he's always went in this direction since he's had that position. So for people to say that it's kind of just all over the place, it's kind of misgenuine to that point, because they continuously been talking about, you don't have to buy a system to own, you know, to play our games. And you don't. And when you say something like that, you have to kind of go down this road of, well, how do we make sure people don't lose these games in the future? Because if you don't have to have our system to play them, then how do we keep everything going forward? And then if you go forward on like PC with those games, what about the people that are on Xbox? You already got people out here complaining that PC is giving games that Xbox doesn't have. So what's going to happen if PC continues to play? Let's say PC can keep playing Halo 5. But when Halo 5 comes, when the new system comes out, it's not playable on PC, on Xbox One or Xbox One X. What kind of conversation you think is going to happen then? So it's just the fact that they're in a place where they're taking that Steam PC model, bringing everything over, and it's ambiguous with the platform at this point. They're trying to make it not just Xbox, it's about the platform. I told everybody a long time ago, Xbox stopped being about a system years ago. Xbox became a platform like 5 years ago, and people just starting to realize that. That's the thing that people aren't getting. It's about the ecosystem. It's about the friends you have on it. It's nothing to do with the system anymore. The system is there for the people that want to take advantage of it, but you don't have to have the system. And when you don't have to have something, you can do anything you pretty much want. And yes, the conversation will definitely change more and more if they start getting more and more games out there. I already told people I think Microsoft should just continue to go down the same lane that they've been going down, because it fits who they are as a company now. They are a service-based company that thrives in that ecosystem. They've never been a hardware company outside of, you know, Surface and stuff like that, which does very well for them. PlayStation has the bread and butter of knowing exactly what their identity is. Microsoft lost their identity this generation. They lost it. They were kings of first-person shooter, king of online gameplay, and when all of those games went to another platform, they lost their identity. They lost it, and now they're trying to find another one. And that's what they're doing now. And that's what Phil Spencer's trying to, quote unquote, rally the troops which are the Xbox faithful, to actually push that narrative for them as much as you can, which they're very smart at doing. That's what Dark Optimus was talking about before. You know, they're very, very pronounced on social media with this type of stuff. Phil Spencer goes out and does, it seems like 4 or 5 interviews a week, because you always got him for something. So he knows that his fan base that truly cares about Xbox will sell Xbox for them. Now they got to close the deal with the games on July 23rd. That's what they need to do. But it's already been put out there. Think about it. My boy J-Dub put a tweet out the other day. Shout out to him. 3,000 people that participated in it. He asked, what is the system that you're definitely getting next generation? And 53% of it was Xbox. The other 47% was PlayStation, which shocked the heck out of me. I was like, wait a minute, this is a PlayStation-centric person. Most of his fans are PlayStation people, but it's saying more people are excited for what Xbox are doing than what PlayStation is doing. And that's just because Xbox has been more forward-facing with the things they've been talking about for the last 6 months. Now, all that can change on July 23rd if Microsoft doesn't give people what they want on the game front. But I absolutely agree with Phil Spencer, but it's only because of the direction Xbox has been going into for the last 5 years, not something they just started doing. This is what they've been. And people need to realize that and go back and look at the tape on that.
Yeah. Or, by the way, 14 real quick, Halo 5 is down on PC.
Well, it's the last game coming to PC. That's what I'm saying. It's after Halo 4, of course, but it's going to be there before Halo 5 with Infinite comes out. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Slow-Mo.
I was just going to make a point about that poll that it was retweeted by somebody who is an Xbox guy with just as many or maybe more followers than J-Dubs have, and maybe that may have had something to do with the poll. The thing is that like Twitter polls aren't really indicative of how things are going to go play out overall. I mean, like if you look at just overall on social media, whenever Sony does anything PlayStation related, let me show you a quarter of our controller. Okay, a quarter of the picture of our controller. No, not even that. I'm gonna show you the thumbstick. Let me show you the thumbstick. I'm gonna show you our new thumbstick on our new PS5 controller. 5 million likes all over social media.
We're gonna show you the X button.
It's a bigger
10 million likes.
It's a bigger brand right now, and that's something that you guys tip your hat to Sony. They were somewhat even with Xbox at the beginning of this generation. They made some smart moves and capitalized on a lot of mistakes that Microsoft made early on, and they've used that to kind of continue on with the brand. The brand PlayStation is powerful in the sense that you see non-gamers talking about they buying a PS5. I'm like, what you gonna play on that? What? God of War? God of War came out 2 years ago. What are you talking about? It's just like they don't even know. They just know that everyone's getting it, everyone likes it, and they're gonna get it. And so when you have that kind of imbalance in brand, you have to do a little bit more. You have to be on top of things a little bit better. You can't really make as many mistakes because people don't give you the same chances as they give the other guy that everyone likes. And so in that sense, this is why people say things like Phil flip-flops a lot. And if you look at the quotes, he says things and then he says something the opposite. Again, I'm not saying you can't change your mind, but when you don't ever come out and say, hey, look, we're not going to do VR anymore. I know we said we're going to do VR. We're making an announcement. We're going to kind of pump the brakes on VR. Maybe we'll do it next gen. We apologize. When you never do that, then people go, man, I thought we was getting VR with Xbox One X, and you said we was getting VR, and here we are. You talk about Xbox Series X, and I still ain't got my VR. It's like, that's a valid argument. Yeah. So when you say things, but you don't follow up on it, and you're not the industry darling at the moment, people going to come at your neck.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that happened to Sony last generation. People forget that with the PlayStation 3. People came after Sony a lot, big time. I mean, yeah. But I do want to say there was one thing that was also interesting, and we've talked about this for a long. I think Optimus Code was probably one of the first people to talk about how older hardware could hold back games. And we had Code on many months ago to talk about this, and this is actually mentioned. Phil references this in this article on GameIndustry.biz, where he says the Game Industry Biz says basically, Sony is tasking its studios to make games that are only possible on more advanced machines, where Xbox is asking its studios to make games that can work across generations. It's a difference that sparked online social media debates, which we've seen, over whether Xbox studios are being held back as a result. And Phil said, frankly, held back is a meme that gets created by people who are too caught up in device competition. He says that I just look at Windows, and it's almost certain if a developer is building a Windows version of their game, then the most powerful and highest fidelity version is the PC version. You can even see that with some of our first-party console games going to PC, even from our competitors, that the richest version is the PC version, yet the PC ecosystem is the most diverse. There's a big reason why PC ecosystem is most diverse. People forget about PC as a platform, as an open platform, where console has always been a closed platform. But he goes on to say, PC ecosystem is the most diverse when it comes to hardware. When you think about CPUs, GPUs from years ago that are there. Look, Phil, sir, yes, in some instances you're correct here. Graphic fidelity, graphics will scale. Game design does not. So, look, we've had Optimus Code on the show. We've talked about this for a long time now. Code came on many months ago to explain this, and I think he's explained this like a million times on Twitter, and people still don't understand the aspects of game design before development. That game design is in fact held back when you have to insert or think about weaker hardware. It's a big reason why we don't see games maybe utilize the full capabilities. If you talk about PC of the 2080 Ti, right? What's up, Blades? What's up, Delirium Blades? Is the holy design argument. Look, it doesn't, and when we say this, it doesn't mean that the games are going to be bad. It just means that from a design perspective, things will be held back when you have weaker hardware to account for. And me personally, I want to see developers take full advantage of new hardware without having to compromise design. And with doing so, could potentially provide us with new gaming experiences. Things that we haven't experienced in previous generations. We've have examples of this over the last 43 years of gaming. When you think about going from older platforms to newer platforms, I always think about Super Mario 64 and how innovative that game was. But that game would have never been possible if it had to account for anything other than the N64. What's Mooch is in the live chat? What's up, Mooch? I know why Mooch is here. Hey, Mooch. So I know you're a supporter of Brap, but we don't typically see you in the live chat. But you know why he might be here.
Moochism at its best.
Moochism at its best. So Blade says we've reached an apex in most groundbreaking design. I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. We were supposed to have Optimus Code on to talk about this a little bit. But even if we have hit the apex, there's still things that developers could do to improve games. We think about more open worlds, smarter AI, things of that nature. So Mooch says, who's hashtagging mooching? But look, again, it doesn't mean, and no one is saying that games are going to be bad if you have to account for weaker hardware. No one's saying that. I think that sometimes gets lost in translation. But I thought it was interesting that he brought that up, right? Because they're seeing this stuff going on Twitter, but he doesn't acknowledge that the design piece. But he's right. On the graphic side, these games will certainly scale, but not on the design side. So
it's like both sides of the argument are having two different discussions. One's talking about game design, the other one's talking about scalability, and both of them are. It's that. Let me not say this. There's some people on both sides that are insinuating that the other is there's something wrong with the other side of the argument. As you said, like just bringing up game design and saying that this limits game design doesn't mean that the games are going to be bad. Like we've discussed before the Halo Infinite coming out and how how that game design in that game could be limited to the fact that it's got to run on the Xbox One VCR, you know, and there are a lot of people out there who own that, and they still own it, and they see Halo Infinite. Man, that looks amazing. I could play that on my Xbox One. And they look at their Xbox One looking at them like, hey, look, man, I don't know about that, bruh. You know, and it's just like that thing is going to be crying as it's trying to run Halo Infinite, but it's going to run it. Now, is it going to run it well? I'm not going to say it will. I mean, look, we've seen it already. You've seen people wondering why the Outer Worlds ran so poorly on the Xbox One S. You know, it's already kind of stretching thin with some of this older hardware, but the point I'm trying to make is these games can still be good games. It's just that when you play on your Xbox Series X, they could have done some other things that could have, you know, taken advantage of that extra hardware, but they're not. And that doesn't mean, like, most of the time, you're not even going to know what they would have done to it unless they come out and say it. Like, everyone brings up Horizon Zero Dawn, and they're like, hey, we was going to put a glider in there. You was going to be flying all over the place. People are like, what? I could have had a glider? You didn't even, why are you upset? You didn't even know that 5 minutes ago. You had no idea that was a thing. So it's, like, most of the time you don't know what got, you know, put on the cutting room floor unless they show you something way too early, and then you get the close to launch version and you just like, that don't look like the game I was hyped for. Then it's like that's a different story. But like some of this stuff, it doesn't mean the game's bad. It doesn't mean it's gonna suck. It's just that, hey, there were some things they wanted to do and they just couldn't do it. Maybe they'll get a chance to put it in the sequel when they ain't gotta support the VCR. But like, people just gotta stop talking past one another. Like the answer to the question of game design is not scalability. It's never going to be scalability.
That's a great point, Slobo. Yeah, it's just, you know, I think it's two separate conversations. And like we've said, it doesn't mean that the games are going to be bad if they're being designed on multiple platforms. Because we see it on PC right now. We see it on, current gen consoles, right? With we have different console iterations.
Hey Enrique, you see what Brian Baker wrote? He said, anyone playing Infinite on the VCR Xbox is the enemy of the gamers.
Who said that?
Brian Baker.
Oh, that's Delirium Blades. Yeah. Anyway,
it is? Okay.
Yeah, it's the Blades. Yeah. Yeah, that's.
He's not wrong.
I mean, yeah, he's not. He's not. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm gonna tell you how much of an elitist Forte is. Forte said, if you have the VCR Xbox, don't play Infinite with him. He ain't gonna play with you.
No, I did not say it like that.
Okay, what did you say?
I said, don't expect me to jump over and play Infinite with you in campaign mode if you sitting there with the old VCR Xbox. That's what I said.
What lies did I tell?
So are we?
I said my first experience through the game will not be with people playing on VCRs. That's what I said.
What? That's so bad. You just, you just discriminate against all these big VCRs out here, and the poor gamers that own them. They just out here just trying to enjoy Halo just like you, all blurry and 900p. But it's all right.
There's more people. I guarantee you, there's going to be more people with VCRs upgrading than there are people with Xbox One X's.
So are we gonna see Xbox Series X Master Race then next gen?
Absolutely, because they're making it that way by giving you better frame rate and better.
People are gonna go crazy on Twitter about that. They're gonna be like, Xbox Series X Master Race, and then you guys are gonna be like, you suck.
I asked Luca and Taz when I jump on Destiny on console, and they sit there like, "Oh, you ain't got your SSD hooked up." I'm like, Lord.
Let me tell you something. That SSD makes all the difference, because like when I play I play Warzone with Mooch and Blades, like I load in so much faster now. Like when you load into like do the warm up, I'm loaded. Like I'm in the game already. Like people, like I'm like the first one to land, or one of the first to land. It's like instantaneous.
You talking about with your 970 Evo?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Death Stranding loads up so fast. It's like instantaneous, man. It's crazy. But
ain't nothing wrong with wanting more. That's it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And
guess what? I play on the basis
if
anyway.
Halo Infinite is 60 frames per second on the VCR Xbox, 343 is some geniuses to pull that off.
It might look like a dumpster fire, but they might pull it off.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think what's going to happen with that is the fact that the Series X version is going to look way better, and then the VCR quote unquote Xbox One is going to be like scaled back resolution wise and probably some other things, and then.
Yeah, there were things. The one thing that I remember vividly from this generation is like when we went from 360 to Xbox One, Battlefield. Titanfall did this too, but Battlefield was more predominant that they did it because there's such large scale maps for the multiplayer. They were both 60 frames per second, but the biggest difference was 360 was capped at 32 players, 16 on 13, and the maps were dramatically smaller. Like there were parts of the map that you couldn't even go to on 360, but if you went over to Xbox One or PS4, it jumped up to 64, so double the player count, and you got way bigger maps. Like there were back alleys to maps that you couldn't even get to on 360. So it's like.
So you think we're going to see that this gen then?
Oh yeah, you're going to definitely see that for the first couple of like. I expect that to be in Halo, honestly, when it comes to that. Well, see, let me take that back because it depends on how they implement how cross generational play between the games are going to be. If they're going to separate the player pool for multiplayer and say Xbox One with Xbox One and Xbox Series X with Series X, I can see that being something that will be the difference. If they do the same thing with single player, or you can opt in, or like it's like an opt-in, opt-out thing like it was on PC, I can see the person playing on the Series S having to take the brunt hit of whatever is going to happen. You might have less enemies on your screen if you're playing with that person or blah, 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 this or that. So you're going to get your experience to play with people that are on lesser hardware. I can see that being a thing, but only time's going to tell. That's something that Microsoft truly needs to hit home on when it comes to announcing this next system. Like, how is this cross-generational play going to be, since companies are coming out saying that they're going to support that in the next generation?
Yo, can you imagine how imbalanced PvP is going to be?
I love it. I can't wait.
With people playing on that VCR against people with Xbox Series X and PCs. Oh my God. Like,
what are multiplayer games?
Fortnite, you remember what happened with Fortnite, right? When Epic allowed crossplay with the Switch owners.
Oh yeah, I remember.
To Xbox and PlayStation. And then it was like, oh my God, it's a massacre. Hey, wait, like, stop. Wait, hold on. Pause it. Stop. We just going to have you play with the mobile gamers. Because clearly this isn't even fair.
I mean, luckily I don't play multiplayer games very often, so like that's not really going to be a factor for me. But yeah, I think single player wise, like if the game looks like very similar to the Series X, that might be a bad thing. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the VCR version of the game is going to look a lot more downgraded, and then the Series X version is going to look what it should look like, you know.
Yeah, it all comes down how they implement the whole cross-generational play. I mean, I don't even think they announced if there will. See, only like I know Bungie announced that there will be, but they haven't, like Microsoft themselves haven't said there's going to be cross-generational play. And I think that's another part that a lot of people need to just take the wait and see approach. They said they're supporting these games going forward, but they didn't say anything about Halo Infinite being cross-generational play with people on the original Xbox. They didn't say that because it's being rumored that they're making a standalone game that's taking advantage 100% of what the X is going to do. So that's why I say they need to kind of explain what their philosophy is on that with their games, especially with Halo being the first one that's going to come out the gate. Hopefully they do something like that, but who knows at this point? Microsoft wants to be all inclusive with everybody for some reason at this point now. I get it though.
Come on, man. Don't y'all want to play nice with people?
No.
Forte?
That's why you play on PC, isn't it, Enrique?
No comment, sir. I'll leave it at that. But all right, guys.
70 Super.
Yeah, right. So guys, I do want to wrap up the show because I want to do this giveaway for Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Tsushima. All right. So
it's like a silent T almost. It's like Tsushima.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, Optimus, I think last time you were on the show, you said that's you Sony's going to show off some games or something. You couldn't really talk about it. Have you heard anything about the August event?
I haven't heard a peep in a while.
Okay.
I haven't heard about pre-orders going live.
Everything's kind of like on under wraps right now. With
wink, wink.
Yeah, right.
Just tell us offline that after the show's over, it's all good.
We're listening.
Yeah,
all ears.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk offline then. All right, Optimus. We'll talk offline. All right. So here we go. We're gonna do this guy go to Tsushima giveaway. So okay, hold on. Let me pull up the be sec here, guys, because we have. Okay, this is. Oh, all right. This is B Money. We're gonna go with B Money's because this is related to Sucker Punch. So B, do you want to read your trivia question?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yo, that's harder than my question, man. I'm about to actually Google this myself. I have no idea what this answer is.
All right, y'all ready for the question? All right, here it is. How many franchises has Sucker Punch made, and who were the lead protagonists in those games?
Ooh.
I think I know this, but
all right, read that again, B Money, just in case.
All right, one more time. How many franchises has Sucker Punch made, and who were the lead protagonists in those games?
And I get the feeling we're going to be here for a little bit. That's a great question, B.
Not with Google.
Yeah, right. Not with Google. Yeah.
I think Usman got it. Usman B.
Who got it?
Yep.
Usman B got it. Sly, Cole, Delson, and Jen. 4 franchises. He is correct.
I knew that.
Actually, technically, wouldn't that be just 3 franchises? Because Infamous is still.
Yeah, but doesn't Infamous have 2 different versions of? They have 2 games.
Yeah. The guy from Second Son is different from Cole.
Yeah.
And then the girl in the DLC.
Still the same freaking franchise, though. It's 3 franchises then. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
But what about this other game? I'm pretending like I knew this already. I didn't Google it. Rocket robot on wheels.
Wait, guys, hold on. Wait. So Usman B1, right?
Well, I mean, Optimus. It's like technically.
I mean, give it to him. I mean, he did answer first, so I mean.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's. Yeah. Stop writing on the parade there, Optimus.
I'm just saying, technically.
You called me the nerd. Well, technically.
Technically, guys, it's actually just 3 franchises, okay?
Well, that's not true there, Slow-Mo. You might want to pump the brakes there, guy.
well, technically, their very first game was called Rocket, and like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! All right, Usman B, please, Usman B, congratulations, man, winning Ghost of Tsushima. Please hit me up in DM. I'm gonna try to do a gifted digitally, get a digital code to send to you. If not, figure something out on Amazon and get it shipped to you directly. But hit me up on DM Usman B. I think we're connected on Twitter. But yeah, congratulations again, man. So Mooch says B Money, that question.
I'm surprised Mooch didn't actually say something. I mean, he's trying to mooch out there. I mean, man, he knows all this shit. What the hell's wrong with you, Mooch?
I thought Mooch was like all like his hand on the keyboard and getting ready to Google.
I think his gamer card needs to be revoked for that one, dude. I'm just saying.
Wow. Yeah.
He knows I'm playing.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, look, congratulations to our winners tonight. I forget Frank Urban, who won the PC version of Death Stranding. Frank, remember, please hit me up in the DM on Twitter so we can coordinate getting you that copy of Death Stranding. And then a big shout out to we got to coordinate, and a big shout out to Usman B, who won Ghost of Tsushima, which comes out this Friday. So on that note, I'll give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, the 150 plus people that we had. Please hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're new, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're notified when we go live. And big thank you to Dark Optimus for hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, for sure. It was fun. I always like coming to Brap because you know why? You guys make it like a real conversation always. So I love being on Brap. So hopefully I can be on again in the near future.
No, absolutely, man. Definitely got to get you back on. And are you gonna be? You got to get back on Crossfire, man. We haven't seen you on Crossfire in a while, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean it's really up to Mooch. Whenever he wants me on Crossfire or whatever. I mean, that's his podcast, man. He's the boss.
No doubt, man. Mooch, you got to get him back on, man. Got to get him back on. Blade says spin a wheel next time.
I like when he's on Crossfire and you guys are like arguing for a good 15 minutes and he just interjects and just goes, you guys are all fraud and you're all wrong.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's the best. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best. So, but yeah, man, Optimus, let everyone know where they can find you, man, if you want to be found.
Oh yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox and PlayStation at the same name. And yeah, and usually when I'm on Crossfire, I'm usually like listening to all you guys bitch about the same thing over and over again. So that's why I usually chime in with shit like that, because I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, you guys are just going on for like an hour about stuff. And I mean, sometimes when you guys
Crossfire.
Are on,
that's why it's Crossfire.
but when you guys are on, it's usually like, I don't know, like it's a different podcast when you guys are on. But like when it's
hopefully
just
that's
like
a good thing.
Yeah, when it's just like the normal like just Xbot and crap, and it's usually like Xbot trying to chime in and then crap just kind of like just deflects him basically. So it's just like, okay, yeah, it's back and forth.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you are the voice of reason on the next podcast, by the way. I'll say that.
I try to be, man, and then shout out to my next brothers, those guys are good. I have to be kind of like a little bit more of like a neutral on there because it's like these guys just go so, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, go a little bit too hardcore towards Xbox and they got to see the other side too.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. It's always good to see both sides of the coin, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Optimus, man, always a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on again. And want to give a big shout out to the rest of the Brap panel. We have the voice at Forte's head, Slow-Mo Pax. That's hilarious. I love that. Dude, you got to keep that from the voice at Forte's head.
He just mad because He just mad because I got real estate running in his head.
Oh, boo.
You're living rent free.
Yeah, that one was weak.
Yeah.
Weak. You could do better than that, Forte.
Why you making childlike noises though? Are you okay?
Because you don't get it.
Your head telling you that was weak. You can do better than that, man.
I know you can. Whatever you'll be doing. Get ready for this grounded video in a couple of days. This new video about to go live.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure that you haven't dropped the video today, have you?
No, it's about to go up now. I was finishing the thumbnail this whole time.
See,
you
keep cutting it close. You keep cutting it close, man.
Cutting it close. You got about 23 minutes, man.
It's fine. It'll be up.
All right.
Plus,
cool.
I'm testing. I'm testing different
I want
times.
your power go out.
I hope your power goes out.
Oh, you want my power to go out, Slow-Mo?
Yes, for half an hour.
Well, the video will go live anyway. It will just go live without the thumbnail.
Oh, that's true. We'll go live. All right, Slow-Mo. So,
Still go live.
Slow-Mo, aka the voice of 4J's heads, aka Slow-Mo Damas. Slow-Mo, let everyone know where they can find you, man. By the way, great content as always. You guys need to check out Slow-Mo's channel, by the way. Go ahead, Slow-Mo.
Thank you, Enrique. Check out my channel, Slow-Mo Backslap. I do content on games I like. Emphasis on the like, but I like to deep dive on just games of all platforms.
He likes to go deep,
real deep. Super.
I was gonna say I would watch your show if I actually liked the games that you played.
Oh, hey, look, that's fair. Some of them aren't, I know they don't always.
No, I watch a lot of your videos, though. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but like even in the ones where I know people don't really may not really care for the game, but I think they also may care for the company that's making it and like what they're about and what they do and how they make their game. So it's like that's what I try to do, and I also kind of give about thoughts on what's going on out in the gaming industry and stuff like that. So yeah, check me out. Subscribe if you like it, all that good stuff. And great show tonight, man. I had a lot of fun. I always have fun on Brat, but I had a lot of fun tonight. Especially at Forte's expense. Even though I love him, I love messing with him. It's all
that's
fun.
my podcast, brother. I love you too, man. I understand. I understand the love-hate relationship.
Forte has that R&B voice, like, yeah, I love you, man, too. Yeah.
he's the bald guy with the cane and Boys the Men.
Wow.
Oh shoot!
Yes, you come back through the day.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Can somebody tell me?
What? Oh my God!
Oh shoot!
I feel like I just woke up in the
Forte singing a slow-mo. He's like,
hey,
slow-mo, give me a reason.
Oh no!
All right, let me stop. All right, go ahead.
Let's move on to Grab.
Let's go on to the Mr. Entanglement Savvy, aka Grab, Eric Jackson.
Yo, another good podcast. Autumn, it's great to have you here, man. Great conversation. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X, and on Saturday nights, 8:00 on the Gaming Perspective podcast.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And E, please be safe, man. You are in ground zero. I'm telling we might fly in a chopper, man. We might come in there like Chris Redfield to rescue you, man.
Or like Arnold, be like, get through the chopper.
Go now.
You stay your ass at home.
Oh my God, I'm coughing. Yeah, wear mask. Wear mask, please. Be considerate.
Man, I got a mask stash.
I'm telling you, man. I got to talk about this online, but the fuckery that I see on Facebook is just insane. But I fear for the future. I'm telling you, there's a movie called Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
And I'm starting to believe that shit is happening in real life.
It's no longer a comedy; it's a documentary.
Yeah, yo, real talk. I'm telling you, I start seeing Brondo commercials. I know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start having television shows where people are entertained by somebody kicking somebody in the nuts. So, yeah. Anyhow, all right, E, always a pleasure, man. And B Money.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man, for always a pleasure, bro. Let everyone know where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. I'll catch y'all next week. Appreciate everybody come through the chat. Dark Artemis, appreciate you coming through, man.
For sure.
No doubt, man. All right, and then last but not least, Gaming Forte. Oh yeah.
What? Was that your attempt at New Edition or something? Like your Johnny Gill voice?
It was more like New Kids on the Block for him.
Like
It was more like the guy that hides in someone's bushes. It wasn't R&B.
Like the lead singer of Soul for Real or something.
He was like John Lovitz and fucking Little Nicky,
trying to do
hanging on the tree.
He tried to literally channel his. He literally tried to channel his inner Gerald Levert. That's what that was.
Oh my goodness!
That was right there. No, man.
Come on, Forte. Put on that red dress.
Okay, well let me get a little closer to the mic because that's how proximity works. So
there you go. Telling
This
me.
was an amazing podcast with you guys. Shout out to Dark Optimus, even though he always throws shots at our show weekly on different podcasts. We know he rocks with us for real. So I really, truly appreciate you. And you have definitely earned a spot on the Brat podcast with us whenever you try to get on here. But outside of that, it's Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter, all those places. Check me out. It's a blast. Hit up Slow Mo Backslap because that's my brother. That man does better videos than I do. Y'all just don't know it. And I will see you guys in the next video, which will be going up in the next 10 minutes. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace. It's not weekend yet. Never mind.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's
enough.
the weekend because I've been doing videos every day. Because Slow-Mo know what he's doing.
I mean, it's close enough. I mean, we're almost into Thursday, so yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
enough.
dude, but it feels like the weekend. When you do, it's like you don't realize how much it takes to do a video every day.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to seeing Slow-Mo's your video too, Forte, but also Slow-Mo's video.
Oh no, that's all right.
Grounded.
Slow-Mo's videos are better, so you're right.
Well, you do his videos, so I don't know how they can be better. But
Somebody
Do not perpetuate these lies.
I'm going to homogenate these lies and slander stuff.
Absolutely.
Is that why Slow-Mo sounds like an R&B artist in fucking his videos? Is that why?
Yes.
Hey, man, that tempo went up ever since I started editing those videos.
Yeah,
Forte's on like he's like
God.
R. Kelly. You got that vibe. All right. Anyhow,
You sound like you're trying to seduce me, Slow-Mo, in your videos.
yeah, it does kind of sound that Slow-Mo. Like I've noticed that. Like you're like, hey, what's up, everyone? Slow-Mo back. Video. Yeah, we're gonna get into it tonight and talk about this game that I'm looking at. It's a fine looking game. It's good.
Well, maybe I am.
Oh boy.
Oh,
hey,
God.
Slow-Mo, Slow-Mo, you remember? Hey, Slow-Mo, you used to listen to Russ Parr show, man?
Yeah.
You remember you used to do those skits? Remember, like you used to like Magic Johnson and a couple other people.
Yeah.
You remember
I love the one he used to do for Norv Turner.
Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember the coach?
Yeah, that's the one he did for Norv Turner, the coach. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, when he's talking about Scottie Pippen, he's like, there was Scottie Pippen, all 6'10" of himself in the shower in his buttocks. You remember that? Yo, Russ Parr was out of control. All right, we got to go, guys, because we're going off the rails here. But yeah, he's got to be up early because
I had to be up early. Usually, like, yo, we got to go. Bye. You're like out.
Yeah. All right, we got to go because people got to get up early. Thank you guys for the support as always. We love gaming. We are Brap. We are out. We'll see you next weekend. Peace. Oh, yeah. What?